The first thing I did after becoming a zombie was to go around collecting baby formula and diapers. All because I adopted a human baby girl. Every zombie laughed at me for being an idiot. But what they didn't know was, this baby girl was the reincarnation of the human empress. In her past life, she fought across the land, surviving countless life or death tribulations. She had slain countless powerful beings from other races. But in the end, during a heavenly trial, she was ambushed and killed by the Empress Mother of the cosmic insect tribe. Now, she's been reborn and returned to the beginning of the apocalypse 50 years ago. Only this time, she's become a baby. As for me, I was attacked by zombies right after crossing into this world, and ended up becoming a zombie myself. Fortunately, I managed to keep my human consciousness. I survived for a month off frozen meat I found in a store fridge. Lived for a month. But now the meat in the fridge had started to rot. Even though zombies eat rotten meat, I still couldn't accept it with my human mind. There was nothing I could do, so I had to disguise myself as an ordinary zombie to search for food outside. Just as I entered a house and was about to go into the kitchen, I suddenly heard a baby crying in the next room. After I pried open the bedroom door, I found the room warmly decorated, a stark contrast to the blood-stained living room. On the bed, there was actually a 6 or 7-month-old baby girl crying her eyes out. Most likely, in their final moments, the couple had locked the bedroom door to protect their child. Meanwhile, Yan Ruoxu was completely hopeless. She had finally managed to be reborn, but the first person she saw wasn't her parents, but a zombie. She hadn't eaten in a long time, and now fear overwhelmed her. Under such terror and hunger, Yan Ruoxu fainted. Looking at this little one, I was rather surprised. Even though she's only 5 or 6 months old, there was sadness and helplessness in her eyes. For the first time in this world, I truly felt empathy. Both the little one and I ended up in this world mysteriously, and unluckily, as unfortunate people caught in the apocalypse. But this new life in front of me felt like a light in the darkness, giving me a new sense of direction. So I decided to adopt her. But then I suddenly realized the little one had probably passed out from hunger, and the formula can in the room was already empty. I decided to go out to get some formula. I carefully closed and locked the bedroom door for her, then pushed the sofa to block the entrance, to keep zombies from coming in. But after searching the kitchen for food to no avail, I had to go upstairs to look around. The hallway on the 3rd floor was covered with dried, dark brown blood, and on the floor were indescribable pieces of body parts. Even with the main door open, the stench was overwhelming. There were even several badly damaged zombies in the hallway. I was already used to all this, so I just went straight to scavenging the apartments. I searched several kitchens in a row but found no baby formula, only a small amount of meat that hadn't fully decayed. Finally, when I searched an apartment on the 5th floor, the woman had turned into a zombie, and her child had been eaten by her. I went silent. If the little one hadn't been locked in the bedroom, she probably would have met the same fate. Luckily, I found 2 unopened cans of formula in the kitchen, along with about 2 pounds of still fresh meat. Half awake, Yan Ruoxu felt the taste of milk enter her mouth, and instinctively started sucking. After finally regaining some energy, she struggled to open her eyes, only to find out she wasn't dead. She even saw a zombie, feeding her with a spoon, just like a nanny. In her memories from her previous life, zombies were nothing but bloodthirsty monsters. She'd even killed former comrades who'd turned into zombies. Was this zombie raising me just to eat me when I grow up? I had no idea what the little one was thinking. I was just relieved to see her open her eyes again. I could finally feel at ease. But after going so long without food, when I finished feeding her 1 bowl of formula, she was still hungry. I actually forgot I was a zombie for a second. I wanted to say something, but only let out a low growl. So I quickly shut my mouth and silently turned away. It took 3 more bowls of formula to finally satisfy her. Raising a kid is really tough, I thought. I realized I'd need to carry more baby formula in the future. Fortunately, powdered formula has a long shelf life, so I didn't have to worry about it spoiling. After Yan Ruoxu had her fill, she lay contentedly in her crib. She felt this was absurd. The zombie's aura before her was clearly that of a newly turned and very weak Tier 1 zombie. At this level, zombies shouldn't be intelligent. But she couldn't figure out why things were this way. Still, as an empress who'd been through all kinds of deadly crises, Yun Ruoxu gradually calmed down. Though she was still scared inside, she figured that even if the zombie decided to eat her, at least she wouldn't die hungry. So she wasn't too worried anymore. Days of hunger and fear had left her nerves taut, but now she could finally relax. Unable to resist, Yun Ruoxu drifted off into a deep sleep. Watching her sleep, I couldn't help but smile a little. It was the first time I truly felt peace and beauty. But if I left a baby this little here alone, she'd be dead for sure. So I decided to take her with me. This was an old 7-story apartment building. The second floor wasn't safe at all at the moment. But the 7th floor at the top was relatively safe. Maybe because the community was old, there weren't that many zombies here. But the ones that remained were starving. I wouldn't dare parade this little one around. So I used a crowbar to quietly take out the zombies on the way, taking down any walkers in my path. After settling the little one in, I took a shower myself and changed into clean clothes. Other than my gruesome wounds, I looked no different from an ordinary human. Most importantly, in the room, I found a fairly complete set of baby supplies. It seemed the family had fled in a panic after the outbreak and left things behind. Maybe it's because I've been active lately, but ever since I became a zombie, my limbs were always stiff, yet they now seemed a lot more coordinated. I could manage some basic human movements. I found this odd, but didn't dwell on it. All my attention was on Yun Ruoxu. Just as I reached for a diaper to change her, an incredible thought popped into Yun Ruoxu's mind. If she had just been puzzled before about me feeding her, now seeing me put on diapers, she was almost certain I must have retained my human consciousness. Recalling the details from our first encounter, she realized I acted differently from other zombies. I could turn doorknobs, pry open doors with a crowbar, and even mix up formula and feed her. But none of those were things a typical Tier 1 zombie would do. These behaviors were completely at odds with regular zombie instincts. She became more and more convinced I had retained my human consciousness. Only a human will be able to suppress a zombie's bloodthirsty nature. But the very next second, Yun Ruoxu's eyes widened in shock, because the zombie in front of her was clearly not a woman. She never imagined her reputation for purity would be ruined by a diaper. But he soon let it go. After all, being reborn was already a blessing. Besides, his life was saved by this zombie. He shouldn't dwell on such small matters. Yun Ruoxu watched my stiff body, clumsily changing his diaper. His heart felt both touched and pained. He imagined that I once had a happy family, but turned into a zombie after the apocalypse. And this loneliness and pain of not being able to fit into any group touched the softest part of his heart. So he decided to accept me as his zombie father. After I finished setting up our new home, considering the food needs of both me and the little guy, I decided to stockpile as much food as possible. But going out during the day would raise suspicion among survivors, making it easy to expose myself and the little one. So I chose to act at night. Before leaving, I not only closed the bedroom door, but even blocked the stairs with a cabinet to prevent zombies and humans from breaking in. I had witnessed many acts of desperation, committed in the name of survival, and even the darkest sides of human nature during the apocalypse. Therefore, I was extra cautious. I tied the iron door on the first floor tightly before I started searching for supplies. Although the nearby residential areas didn't have much stock individually, every little bit added up. I found enough food to fill my hiking backpack. Afterwards, I walked through the dark night carrying a large amount of milk powder. But I suddenly sensed something was wrong, only to find that the moon hanging high in the sky had turned blood red. At the same time, Yun Ruoxu woke up to find the house empty. He comfortably relieved himself in his diaper, then suddenly saw the blood moon outside the window. It seems the era of global evolution is about to begin. I was surprised to see the blood moon, but since I was in a zombie apocalypse world and had seen similar scenes in sci-fi movies, I quickly accepted the phenomenon, thinking this was exactly how the apocalypse should look. I began to move supplies non-stop, not even letting books and reading materials go. But on my fourth trip back, I suddenly felt something wrong with my body. A strange, scorching heat appeared within my cold body. This feeling was both foreign and familiar, as if I had returned to my life before death. But then my brain began to itch unbearably, as if my skull was about to explode. I guessed that my human consciousness was about to vanish, and I was about to become a purely bloodthirsty zombie. I panicked for a moment. Besides me, even other zombies were undergoing the same changes as I was under the moonlight. Survivors bathed in the moonlight also felt their bodies heating up, their blood flow accelerating, and even their bones becoming tougher. Inside the bedroom, Yan Ruoxu, bathed in the blood-red moonlight, his tiny body trembling slightly, was burning up all over. After an unknown amount of time, I finally woke up. Although I didn't notice any obvious changes in the surroundings, as soon as I started to move, I realized my movements were much more agile. I was no longer as stiff as I had been as a zombie before. I was surprised to find the black veins on my body fading, and hair was growing back on my head. Even the zombies wandering the streets had changed. Their originally hideous and disgusting appearance had become somewhat more human-like. I felt a hint of secret joy. It seems this world is not as simple as I thought. When I passed by a zombie, a strange feeling welled up in my heart. I felt like there was a thread connecting me to this zombie. It scared me. I thought I was hallucinating. But I suddenly realized I seemed to have a special ability, able to inject my thoughts into zombies through that thread, just like controlling a puppet. When I focused my attention, I found the connection with the zombie grew stronger, and I successfully controlled the zombie to perform complex movements. I named this ability Zombie Control. After repeated confirmation, I found that I could currently only control 2 zombies at a time, and I couldn't give accurate orders if they were too far away. I thought this might be related to my mental strength. Later, I named the controlled zombies Zombie Puppets. When I started to feel a bit tired, I suddenly remembered Yan Ruoxu home alone. So I controlled the 2 puppets, carrying the collected supplies, and rushed back to the neighborhood. I have to say, zombies are born workhorses. They don't eat, drink, or need a salary. Meanwhile, after the blood moon's baptism, Yan Ruoxu woke up from his slumber. After a flood of information rushed into his mind, his eyes were full of excitement. Different from the talent he awakened in his previous life, this time he even awakened the ability of psychokinesis. He could control objects with his mind. And what surprised him the most was, he actually regained his previous life's time manipulation ability. Both of these talents have the potential to make him a top-tier powerhouse. In his previous life, relying only on time manipulation, he had achieved the position of Empress, not to mention awakening dual talents in this life, which could be incredibly effective in both offense and defense. After Yan Ruoxu tried using his abilities, because his infant body was too weak, it didn't take long before symptoms like sharp pain in his head and exhaustion appeared. Even though his mental strength is very weak now, he is still full of expectations for the future. He believes that as he grows, his future strength will far exceed his previous life. He even began to fantasize about defeating the one from his past life after growing up, killing the Zerg Queen who took his life. Suddenly there was a noise outside. Yan Ruoxu guessed that his zombie father had returned. He couldn't help but be curious now, whether a zombie with human consciousness would also awaken special abilities like humans after the baptism. When I saw the cabinet in the hallway hadn't moved, I breathed a sigh of relief. This was the first time since coming to this world that I felt I had something to care about. I easily moved the cabinet and rushed into the bedroom, seeing Yan Ruoxu awake, watching me obediently. Even though I've never even been in a relationship, I actually felt like a father at this moment. Later, I went into the kitchen. But because the water and power were out, I could only use bottled mineral water to make formula for the little guy. While I was stirring the milk powder, Yan Ruoxu was also observing his zombie father. He noticed I had changed, though not significantly. However, I looked a bit more like a human now, This was different from the zombie evolution types in his memory. In his previous life, zombies had various evolution types, such as tank zombies that became exceptionally tall and strong, with outstanding damage resistance, like a main battle tank on the battlefield, the survivor's nightmare. But he had high hopes for the evolution of a special zombie like me, after the blood moon baptism. After all, in the apocalypse, great strength is the key to survival. But seeing that my changes weren't obvious, he couldn't help but feel disappointed. So Yan Ruoxu secretly decided that when he grew up, he would possess great strength to protect me. He knew well that if he hadn't been reborn as a baby, he would surely have died in this apocalypse. He repays his debts, especially such a monumental favor. You raised me when I'm small. I'll take care of you in your old age. Should never be just an empty promise. Not to mention he knows the main way zombies evolve. The primary method of evolution is by devouring living beings. Besides that, there's predation and the essence within zombie brains. Those extraordinary zombies that have awakened supernatural abilities, no matter what type, will form a golden core in their brain. He is confident that with the advantage of being reborn, he can plunder the golden cores and help me evolve into a high-level zombie. By then, I will possess the ability to speak, and my body will also transform towards that of a human. I didn't know the little one's thoughts. I just saw him staring at me eagerly and found it very amusing. Although I couldn't speak, I still gestured to the little one, telling him I had arranged 2 zombie bodyguards and had also prepared toys for him. Of course, besides toys, I even brought study guides like 5 years of mock exams and 3 years of college entrance exam prep. I suddenly realized I hadn't named Yan Ruoxu yet. After thinking, since we lived on the 7th floor, I decided to give him the nickname 77, hoping this name would help us remember the good times in our little home on the 7th floor. I was satisfied with the supplies collected overnight, thinking they were enough for 77 and me to eat for a very long time. Considering the uncertainty of the apocalypse, I decided to observe the situation from home for a while first, and only go out after ensuring safety. I came to the living room and picked up a steel machete about half a meter long. I wonder what kind of work the original owner of this house was actually engaged in to be able to possess such a long and incredibly sharp machete, though I've never learned swordsmanship. By relying on the zombie's powerful physical strength, I could swing the machete smoothly. I pondered moves from wuxia novels and movies and practiced them in the living room. Now, wielding a blade, I could definitely handle several opponents easily, just as I was practicing blade techniques. Yan Ruoxu, after resting for a while, started pondering his innate ability again. Regarding the newly awakened telekinesis control, he concentrated his psychic power to control the silver needle on the knit stand. Although the current control speed was slow, the silver needle still glided through the air. Just like that, time flew by, and 2 days passed. Both of them lived very fulfilling lives. At that moment, after I finished feeding Yan Ruoxu, I heard movement outside, and through the balcony window, I saw down on the street 2 zombies, without competing for food, were tearing and fighting each other. This abnormal behavior went beyond my understanding of zombie behavior. Because the 7th floor was too high to see clearly, I decided to go down to the 4th floor to check the situation. One zombie had a physique nearly 2 meters tall, immense strength, and was extremely muscular. The other zombie had a slender torso, but its claws were sharp as daggers. The tank-type zombie with the burly physique had strong defense, while the agile zombie had high attack power, but struggled to break through defenses. After a chaotic fight, the tank zombie relied on its immense strength to send the agile zombie flying, and finally smashed its head with one punch, killing it, then pulled a white crystal core from its head. I was shocked by the immense strength of these 2 zombies, far surpassing my own. I felt lucky that I hadn't gone outside out of caution. It seems this world is crueler than I imagined. I absolutely cannot get complacent just because I evolved. And after seeing the tank zombie pull out the crystal core, an intense craving surged within me. I instinctively felt this crystal core would be good for my body. Could it be that the fight between these 2 zombies was precisely to snatch the crystal core in each other's heads? After I saw the big zombie eat the white crystal core, It thumped its chest excitedly, roared, then fiercely punched the surrounding vehicles. Some of the ordinary zombies nearby, upon hearing this commotion, were stunned one after another, and then all chose to distance themselves, instinctively afraid of this zombie. I speculated that crystal cores might enhance a zombie's abilities after evolution, especially the primal urge when seeing a crystal core, the craving far exceeding the desire for flesh and blood. If I could consume a crystal core, it would definitely enhance my ability to control zombies. But right now, I'm clearly no match for this guy. Suddenly, after seeing the gas tank in the kitchen, I immediately thought of a plan to outsmart him. At the same time, Yanruaksu also heard the noise outside, although she couldn't see the situation downstairs. Relying on her rebirth experience, she guessed that after the blood moon, the world entered a surge of evolution. Zombies and fierce beasts were killing each other to evolve. Human survivors began hunting for crystal cores, and later even researched cultivation methods. And Yanruaksu, as the unparalleled empress among humanity, the technique she cultivated in her previous life, was the most top-tier glazed breathing method. Yanruaksu understood that her zombie dad, being an ordinary low-level zombie, would find it hard to survive in the apocalypse. She had to quickly increase her strength to protect them both. Even though she was a baby now, she could similarly cultivate the glazed breathing method. Using the energy factors permeating the air after the blood rain, she began cultivating. After activating the technique, her body trembled. As energy factors slowly entered her body, Yanruaksu was grateful for her rebirth, being able to use the glazed breathing method to cultivate so early in the apocalypse. A large amount of energy factors surged into her body, making her bones tougher, and her weak telekinesis was also strengthened. When I returned to the bedroom from downstairs, I saw his body trembling, and I thought he had caught a cold. I hurriedly grabbed a blanket to cover him. Yanruaksu was startled awake, and finding my worried look amusing. She also felt the warmth of a father's love from her zombie dad. In her previous life, she grew up in an orphanage, experiencing the fickleness of human nature. This was the first time she felt fatherly love, seeing that little 77 was okay. I started pondering how to deal with that zombie outside. Such a dangerous threat had to be dealt with as soon as possible. In the evening, I sent out Zombie Puppet No. 1, controlled by my will, to provoke the tank zombie inside the shop, who was digesting the crystal core's power. The puppet hit the tank zombie with a flower pot and turned to run, successfully luring him to the shop where I had planted the gas tank beforehand. Zombie Puppet No. 1 had just run into the shop when the tank zombie charged fiercely, its massive body crashing directly inside, and immediately smashed my zombie puppet to pieces. At that moment, Zombie No. 2 entered the shop, closed the door, and ignited the gas tank with a lighter. The tank zombie, taking the full brunt of the explosion, let out a series of piercing, agonized roars in the sea of fire. By the time it struggled out of the shop, it collapsed right at the doorway. After the gas tank explosion, I promptly withdrew my consciousness. That was controlling the zombie puppets. Seeing the big zombie burn to a crisp lying at the door, I waited for about 10 minutes, and only dared to approach after confirming the zombie was thoroughly dead. Getting closer, I discovered the zombie was burned beyond recognition, its body having suffered immense damage. I swung the machete, using great force to crack open the zombie's skull. I found a crystal core, white with a hint of red. The temptation of this crystal core was even stronger than the pure white ones I saw before. According to my observations, pure white crystal cores are produced by zombies, devouring others on top of their own evolution. This reddish core is clearly of a higher grade. As zombies were gradually drawn by the fire, I stashed the crystal core and chose 2 zombies with intact limbs to be my... I stashed the crystal core, selected 2 zombies with intact limbs to serve as my new corpse puppets. After returning to the residential complex, I arranged for the new puppets to guard the door downstairs. I went up to the 3rd floor by myself. After confirming it was safe, I couldn't suppress the inner longing for the crystal core and swallowed it down. While the crystal core tempered my body, my skin further transformed toward a human form. Besides the improved appearance, My physical strength and agility also saw slight improvements. After a brief moment of dizziness, my mind became exceptionally clear. My five senses grew sharper, and controlling zombies became even more effortless. Currently, I can control 5 zombies simultaneously, and I've gained a new ability, shared vision. This broke the previous limitation of only being able to control puppets within my line of sight. Now I can control them remotely. Tests show the maximum range of my telekinesis is 1 kilometer. Within this range, I can command puppets without being present myself, greatly enhancing my survival capabilities. Yun Ruoxu heard the explosions from the shops and the roars of the evolved zombies. Being on the 7th floor, she wasn't worried about being exposed, but my long absence made her very anxious. She knew well that in her infant state, she stood no chance against evolved zombies with enhanced combat power. She understood the danger of encountering such zombies and could only pray to the heavens, hoping she wouldn't lose the zombie who gave her paternal love. She originally wanted to continue practicing the glazed breathing method, but she was too distracted to carry on. Just then, the sound of the door opening came from outside. Yun Ruoxu immediately breathed a sigh of relief, and a smile appeared on her face. After all, only her zombie daddy could pick locks and open doors. Seeing Yun Ruoxu smile when I returned, my heart felt warm. I thought about how my increased strength could protect her better, then happily went into the kitchen to make her formula. Watching her drink the milk contentedly, I felt as if this decaying body of mine was radiating a majestic sense of vitality. In the 2 days following my power-up, I used telekinesis to control puppets to search for supplies nearby. I used several rooms on the lower floors as warehouses. Besides baby supplies and food, I also found many tools to deal with zombies. During these past few days, although life was mostly a repetitive routine, I felt very fulfilled internally. After all, I could clearly feel my strength constantly growing. As for Yun Ruoxu, besides drinking milk, she spent her time practicing the glazed breathing method. She occasionally heard faint sounds in the living room, and connecting them to the anomalies from a few days ago, she guessed that I must have encountered extraordinary zombies with evolved special abilities. She knew the power of evolved zombies. Their pressure and combat power far exceed ordinary ones. Furthermore, ordinary zombies in this transformed world are at the bottom of the hierarchy, facing multiple threats from human survivors, their own kind, and mutated ferocious beasts. She was moved by me, that I never gave up on her despite the dire situation. Reflecting on the loss of humanity in the apocalypse, she felt that her zombie dad, retaining a spark of humanity, was truly precious. After many days of cultivation, her telekinetic strength had significantly improved. She could launch silver needles at extremely high speeds. Combined with her time control ability, she was confident she could kill silently. With time control ability, she was confident she could kill silently. But she wasn't satisfied with this. To survive the apocalypse, she needed to become even stronger. Meanwhile, when I sent my puppets to search nearby buildings, I found that the original owner of one apartment might have been a combat enthusiast, as they left behind many martial arts textbooks. They recorded various close-quarters combat moves. My physical fitness, having evolved as a zombie, was already superior to an average person. Now that my body is no longer stiff, I can learn more effectively and perform complex combat maneuvers. While zombie attacks are primitive and crude, modern combat moves developed by humans are more scientific and effective. Even though my evolution isn't focused on physical melee, I believe scientific fighting techniques can compensate for physical gaps. I can also use the fact that zombies don't fear being bitten to use weapons with maximum efficiency. After mastering some basics in training, I controlled my puppets into the 6th floor living room. Once I released the telekinetic control, they became my sparring partners. They say once a zombie knows martial arts, nothing can stop them. But after actual practice, I found that relying solely on theory and self-study was not enough to handle real combat scenarios. Only real combat is the key to honing distance control, reacting to opponents, and making judgments. Through repeated practice, I made significant progress in fighting. Facing a frontal attack from an ordinary zombie, I could handle it with ease. From a total novice, I grew into a skilled fighter with real techniques. Moreover, I found I could multitask, practicing combat while. I also found that I could multitask, practicing combat techniques, while controlling corpses to scavenge for supplies. By sharing the vision of my puppets, I could observe my surroundings. At that moment, I discovered on the third floor of Sunshine Community Building 1, there were 2 zombies scavenging for supplies. Suddenly, a blood-red figure appeared out of nowhere. Its speed was absolutely terrifying. If not for the marks left on the ground, I would have thought I was seeing things. I controlled my puppet to track the blood-red figure. After a few minutes, I finally got a clear look at the zombie. Its appearance was grotesque and horrifying. Not only was its skin peeling off, but its teeth and tongue had become bizarrely twisted. Its hands and feet were like razor-sharp claws. It lost the ability to stand upright, forced to crawl on all fours. Yet it possessed unparalleled speed and explosive power. It could practically run along walls and ceilings with ease. Facing this blood-red zombie, my puppets showed signs of fear. That zombie was so fast. It instantly killed the 2 puppets I was controlling. What on earth is this monster? After returning my focus to my real body, I still felt shaken. Over the years, some zombies have evolved abilities beyond imagination. My current strength is nowhere near enough to compete with them. Even if I send 5 puppets at once, they could all be instantly killed. Right now, all I can do is hope that this blood-red zombie won't come to my current location in Building 5, not daring to waste any time. I practice combat techniques with zombies every day to boost my strength. A week later, in the 6th floor living room, surrounded by 3 burly zombies, I was able to respond nimbly in the tight space, seize the right opportunity, and defeat the zombies swiftly with unique tactics. While practicing combat, I had my puppets look for supplies and search for signs of mutated zombies. For monsters as tough as the blood-red zombie, I can't provoke them until I have enough strength. But unlike before, the brute zombies and agile zombies are relatively easier to deal with. After experimenting these past few days, I've already discovered that kind of crystal core is usually found only inside the brains of mutated zombies. Meanwhile, up in the 7th floor bedroom, Cloud Ruaksu, still an infant, was utterly exhausted even moving silver needles at first. But now, she can make her baby body float an inch or 2 in the air. For humans, levitating is probably everyone's dream. Although Cloud Ruaksu still can't really achieve this, thanks to constant training over this period, she now finally has a bit of self-preservation capability in the apocalypse. He doesn't know. If the large survivor camps learned about this, they'd probably rush over to recruit him. To be able to hover one's body as a baby, that achievement is truly remarkable. After finishing my training on the 6th floor, I had my puppets deal with the dismantled zombies. Just as I was about to go upstairs to feed Kiki, a puppet responsible for gathering resources reported a new discovery. Not far away, an emaciated, but much faster agile zombie was chasing a malnourished human survivor. This survivor had run out of stored food and was forced to venture out for more. Unfortunately, he encountered the mutated zombie I'd been searching for. The agile zombie was lightning fast, using its claws to tear through car doors and drift perfectly. It quickly gave chase, caught up and killed the survivor. Watching this scene, I realized an opportunity had come. Since experiencing the energy surge from devouring the star core, I've been desperate to grow stronger. I immediately sent a puppet to follow and monitor the agile zombie. I left 1 puppet to keep an eye on its movements and mobilized 4 more puppets armed with fire axes. After all 5 puppets gathered, I made them pose as ordinary zombies, maintaining proper distance, forming a semi-encirclement, and gradually getting closer. The agile zombie savoring human flesh. So, I chose this strategy because agile zombies are fast. If I rush in carelessly, all my puppets might be wiped out. When only 10 meters were left between us and the agile zombie, I commanded all 5 puppets to launch a sudden charge. The agile zombie, relying on its speed, dodged most of the attacks, but thanks to my semi-circle strategy, its right arm and back were still injured. However, one puppet got its axe stuck in the zombie's ribcage and was torn apart in fury by the agile zombie. I then got 2 puppets to faint in front, drawing the zombie's attention, while the other 2 recovered and resumed their attack. The agile zombie knocked away the faint attackers, but couldn't dodge the slash at its waist. A large chunk of flesh was cut off. The wounded agile zombie exploded with speed and tore another puppet's head apart. But the remaining 3 puppets rushed in. The agile zombie couldn't evade the relentless axe strikes and was finally killed. After successfully killing the agile zombie, I had the remaining puppets dig out the crystal core. Afterwards, I dug out the gold box. I quickly returned to the community. Back in the community, I had my roommate guard the building entrance, while I took the gold box up to the 6th floor. I found that this gold box was just like the one I devoured before, a white crystal core with a trace of red. It seems this agile zombie had devoured a crystal core too. I swallowed the crystal core, and once again felt immense energy flooding my body. When the process ended, my strength had noticeably improved. Now I could control 10 zombies at a time, with remote control distances up to 3 kilometers. Excited by the power boost, I picked 10 zombies out of the horde, with strong limbs, equipped them with fire axes, and formed a powerful zombie squad. Looking at the squad, I felt confident, and imagined building a massive zombie army, conquering everywhere with my strong psychic powers and puppets. I even planned on going the mass production route, but I hadn't forgotten that terrifying blood-red monster in Building 1. After fighting the agile zombie today, the comparison made that monster seem even scarier. Though I now have 10 puppets, I still know too little about the monster, so I can't guarantee a win. I've decided to send puppets to test it out in a few days, to learn its true strength. After all, that monster is like a ticking time bomb, making it hard for me to feel at ease. Over 3 days, I turned the 6th floor into a training room, and through fighting zombies, discovered my physical abilities had thoroughly improved from evolution. I nodded with satisfaction. Now, with this body, I finally look like a true apocalypse survivor. After training, I ordered my puppets to clean up the battlefield. Once I washed the blood off myself, I went upstairs to feed little Kiki. Looking at the little one's face, I went upstairs to feed little Kiki. Gazing at the pure, innocent smile on the little one's face, I couldn't help but smile too. Her appetite has gotten bigger and bigger. After feeding her, I teased little Kiki with scavenged toys. Yan Ruoxu, watching the zombie dad clumsily, trying to amuse me. I was momentarily speechless. Even though I look like a baby on the outside, my mind is actually mature and calm. The decisive, unrivaled Empress. However, this was my zombie dad's well-intentioned effort. So I just smiled. But I didn't expect that when I saw his matching smile, he put in even more effort. Yan Ruoxu's eyelid couldn't help but twitch. Fine, I'll just treat it as training my mental powers. After playing with Yan Ruoxu, I decided to test the bloodthirsty monster in Building No. 1. From the regular zombies, I picked 10 tall, strong zombie puppets, armed them with fire axes, looking fierce, but I felt it still wasn't enough. Then I thought of the helmets sold at the electric scooter shop around the corner. So I took the zombie puppets and broke open the store, outfitted each zombie puppet with a full-cover motorcycle helmet. After all, a zombie's head is their fatal weakness, no matter how much their body is torn. As long as the head isn't smashed, they can still swing their axe at the enemy. Once everything was ready, I remotely controlled this revamped zombie puppet squad, marching towards Building No. 1. Since my telekinesis covers a 3-kilometer radius, and knowing I am no match in close combat, I ultimately decided to command from Building No. 5 for safety. The zombie squad started from the 1st floor, carefully checking every room and corner, paying special attention to the ceiling, to guard against the bloodthirsty monster adept at scaling walls swooping down. It didn't take long for the zombie puppets to search 4 floors. Still, the bloodthirsty monster attacked. It didn't take long for the zombie puppets to search 4 floors, but they still didn't spot any trace of the bloodthirsty monster. But they didn't know. The bloodthirsty monster crouched like a spider in a hidden corner on the 5th floor, waiting for the zombie puppets to come upstairs. The monster suddenly launched an attack, instantly knocking the closest zombie puppet away from the door. Luckily, the helmet protected the puppet from dying. I quickly controlled the group to fight back, swinging fire axes to attack. If Yun Ruoxu were present, she'd immediately recognize that this zombie was the liquor zombie evolved in the apocalypse. In Yun Ruoxu's memories from her previous life, this zombie caused huge casualties among human survivors early in the apocalypse. At this moment, the liquor is enraged, its claws moving rapidly, knocking several zombie puppets aside. But under my control, they ignored their injuries and fiercely grabbed its claw, while the other puppets' axes chopped down. The liquor fell into the zombie's encirclement, though it managed to jump away. It still got hit repeatedly. I tried having several zombie puppets chop at the same spot over and over. Eventually, under my command, 3 zombie puppets worked together to cut off one of the liquor's arms. The wounded liquor jumped onto the ceiling. I ordered the puppets to throw their axes at it, but the liquor was just too fast, and my low-level puppets lacked strength and accuracy. Both dropped sharply. The liquor shattered the window, escaping onto the outer wall of the building, disappearing in the blink of an eye. I cursed myself for underestimating its strength. Even though I was well prepared, it still managed to escape. This liquor moved incredibly fast, able to walk the exterior walls like flat ground. Its escape this time might make it alert or even seek revenge. I'm glad I put a helmet on the corpse puppet to minimize losses. But right now, what worries me most is that blood-red monster. If it ever sneaks up to Building 5 someday, that would be a disaster. If it finds the little one, climbing up from the outer wall would be impossible to defend against. I quickly collected myself, came up with a defense plan, assigned 3 strong corpse puppets to patrol Building 5 fully armed. That way, even if the monster sneaks in, I'll still be able to notice in time. At the same time, I dispatched the other corpse puppets to search for other evolved zombies. Originally, devouring 2 crystal cores to get stronger already made me quite excited. But that blood-red monster made me realize I'm still just a nobody. At this moment, Yun Ruoxu is in the bedroom on the 7th floor. She's currently controlling 2 dolls, making them fly continually in the air. As a former empress, she never liked this kind of thing. But so she wouldn't let my good intentions go to waste. Plus, later she found out practicing telekinesis with dolls was quite effective. She sensed I was back, and Yun Ruoxu immediately hugged the dolls to her chest. I came in and saw her playing happily, and it instantly healed my mood. Little one, this world is just too dark and broken. I hope you won't be disappointed in this world when you grow up. You should be able to grow up carefree and happy like you are now. I hope both of us can keep surviving in this apocalypse. Looking at the bedroom window, I instantly became serious. I then went out to fetch boards and nails to seal the window. Yun Ruoxu looked at her zombie dad with some confusion. She was a little puzzled as she looked at her zombie dad. He hasn't really gone out much these days. And now he's sealing the window. Could it be that her zombie dad sensed the strength of evolved zombies, so he got scared and wanted to hide from the chaos outside? After thinking it over, that seemed like the only reasonable explanation. Looks like her zombie dad really is a total coward. But she overlooked one possibility. That is, I was actually doing all this just to protect her. And after the blood moon, many evolved humans have also emerged among the survivors. At first, they all ran panicking from normal zombies. But later on, even regular people could easily hunt these low-level zombies. Right now, I kept staring at the nails nonstop. After a long while, I finally finished securing the window. Defense. I made sure to leave some holes in the planks for light and ventilation, guaranteeing both protection and ensuring Yun Ruoxu wouldn't have to live in a stifling environment. It also gives me extra reaction time in case the blood-red monster attacks. In the following 3 days, although the blood-red monster never showed up, I still had my puppets patrolling Building 5. I dared not let my guard down. Suddenly, I felt a mental fluctuation in my mind. One of my puppets encountered some human survivors while searching for supplies at a convenience store 2 blocks away. They ran into a few human survivors. The survivors initially thought it was just a normal zombie. But when my puppet turned to check their identity, they were terrified. One was a strong guy called Taiju, who rushed at the puppet with an iron bar. I had the puppet use a fire axe to fight back. As soon as they clashed, I was shocked. I had chosen puppets with rather strong builds, and as zombies, their strength is pretty impressive. I had chosen puppets with rather strong builds, and zombie strength is naturally greater than an average human's, but I didn't expect the strength of this guy to be overwhelming. The brute force from the steel pipe made the puppet's arm go numb. Taiju's strength was incredible. He knocked the axe out of the puppet's hand and smashed the puppet's head with one swing. Taiju walked up to the fallen puppet, looking a bit puzzled. This world is just insane. Even zombies are using weapons now. Could it be a new kind of evolved zombie? But he didn't think too much about it and quickly called his companions to move the supplies, worried they'd attract more evolved zombies. After seeing Taiju kill a zombie with one swing, the rest searched for food while hyping him up. Good thing we've got Brother Taiju here. Otherwise, we wouldn't find so much food. Yeah, what's an evolved zombie compared to this? With Big Brother Taiju's super strength, it's a piece of cake. After all, in these times, it's key to have a powerful protector in the shelter, so everyone forced a laugh and tried to flatter him. The man called Taiju was pleased after hearing his companion's praise. He was feeling really proud. I was shocked to encounter human survivors after over a month in the apocalypse, especially that Taiju guy who fought the puppet with such incredible strength. I figured he must be an evolved human. After all, regular humans don't have that sort of power. Given human cleverness and complicated minds, I was worried my supplies would be targeted by survivors, putting me and Zhao Kiki in danger. So I decided not to send puppets to that area again. After the run-in with the survivors, a few more days quickly passed. I've stopped gathering supplies for now, since the efficiency of these puppets is just too high. With these few corpse puppets being so efficient, almost every room in Building 5 is now piled with all kinds of resources. Meanwhile, Yun Ruoxu has been using her telekinesis non-stop lately to practice crawling on the bed in the bedroom. As her control over her body got better and better, Yun Ruoxu's crawling speed became faster and faster. And with the help of her mental powers, she finally learned to walk. Just then, I opened the door and walked in, and what I saw on the bed made my jaw drop. The little one's only a few months old. How can she already be walking? First I was shocked, then full of joy. I'd been hoping Yun Ruoxu could adapt to the apocalypse early on, but I didn't expect her to learn to walk this young. I carried Yun Ruoxu to the living room, thinking a flat surface would help her practice. She quickly adapted, relying on her telekinesis. But since her body is still weak, she used up a lot of energy just to keep her balance. So after a little practice, she stopped. I figured she was tired and laid her down to rest on the couch. After that, I practiced my blade skills with a steel machete on the balcony. After devouring the crystal core, my body's evolved in all aspects. Now, when I swing the steel machete through the air, I can hear the blade cut through the wind. At this point, my training has only been based on my memories from my past life of martial arts moves. I'm just trying to imitate simple routines and swing the blade around. But I keep thinking as long as I get stronger, even if I just throw a brick, I'll be able to break through someone's defenses. Yun Ruoxu was shocked watching me. I was actually training to get stronger. She thought I was just an ordinary zombie, but I could use weapons thanks to my human mind. Among the regular zombies, which gave me an edge among low-level zombies. But in her past life as the human empress, Yun Ruoxu had extensive combat and martial arts experience. She thought my blade technique was ridiculously bad. Whenever he faces a stronger opponent, they can almost instantly defeat his zombie dad. When I saw Yun Ruoxu staring at me, I mistakenly thought she was attracted by my knife skills. I felt quite proud inside. For a while, I swung my blade even harder. Over the next few days, I let Zhao Kiki roam freely in the living room on the 6th floor. The 6th floor was even more spacious and bright because I trained there often. It was much more open and filled with light. Far better than the 7th floor bedroom with boarded-up windows. I practiced knife techniques and hand-to-hand combat on the balcony. Yun Ruoxu trained upright walking in the living room. She was also secretly practicing telekinetic control. With my company, the little one walked steadier every day. She's practically a prodigy. But Yun Ruoxu's sense of crisis kept growing inside. After the bloodline mutation, zombies and fierce beasts were all evolving crazily. Ordinary zombies like me would eventually have no space to survive. She had to grow stronger quickly. At the very least, not be a burden in this apocalypse. Just as we were improving ourselves, an angry screech suddenly erupted outside the building. I felt a jolt in my mind. I immediately switched to corpse puppet perspective. On the neighborhood greenbelt, 2 zombies mutated after the blood moon were fiercely battling. One was a tank zombie nearly 2.5 meters tall. Its swinging fists sent gusts of wind, and each blow created a crater on the ground. The other was the licker I'd seen before. It crouched on all fours and moved amazingly fast. Its claws smashed into the ground, creating deep pits. The other was the licker I'd seen before. It crouched on all fours and moved with incredible speed. Another claw was like a curved blade. The 2 powerful evolved zombies were locked in a fierce fight. My heart burned with excitement. This was a golden opportunity. Both evolved zombies appeared at the same time, and they were depleting each other's strength. All I had to do was wait for them to weaken each other, and I could swoop in for the spoils. I went straight out the door, headed downstairs to gather the corpse puppet squad. Yun Ruoxu was speechless when she heard the commotion outside. She didn't know I could control corpse puppets, and thought I was going to fight the evolved zombies head-on. But she couldn't even move properly now, so all she could do was quietly pray inside. As I went downstairs, I started summoning all my corpse puppets.
10 fully armed guys
Crept toward the greenbelt. After a long and bloody fight, the 2 zombies finally weakened each other. The blood-colored monster tore off the tank zombie's arm, and the tank zombie collapsed and died. The blood monster claimed a hard-won victory. Just as it was about to take the crystal core, my corpse puppet squad suddenly surrounded it. The blood monster roared angrily, trying to drive the corpse puppets away. But the puppets I controlled weren't affected by intimidation. One puppet hacked away with a fire axe unthinkingly. The open ground made it lose the advantage of wall-leaping agility. It hesitated and ended up surrounded. I got both evolved zombie crystal cores in hand. I was overjoyed. I made the corpse puppets quickly return to the neighborhood. Most of these 2 crystal cores had turned red. Apparently they'd devoured many of their own kind. Back on the 3rd floor, I couldn't wait to swallow both crystal cores at once. This time, the energy was way above anything before. But the most critical change, the change is powered by the mind. A terrifying psychic force flooded into my mind. It completely surpassed what I could endure. I didn't last long before fainting. Yun Ruoxu on the 7th floor was so anxious she rolled around on the sofa. There was no movement for such a long time. He had lost all hope. He thought I was killed by the evolved zombie. Poor zombie. Dad, why couldn't you just wait for me a little longer? While I was grieving. The door lock clicked. Yun Ruoxu suddenly looked up. A smile appeared on her face instantly. She jumped off the sofa. Wobbly, she ran toward me. Dad. I felt like I was struck by lightning. Frozen in place. Little Kiki can call me Dad now. I've lived 2 lives. Didn't even have a girlfriend. Suddenly being called a dad by someone is a strange feeling. I was so excited I didn't know what to do. Yun Ruoxu herself was stunned. She was too excited. Her thoughts just slipped out uncontrollably. But she quickly relaxed. After all, she had the soul from her previous life. Speaking was never a problem. She just hadn't practiced speaking since her rebirth. I didn't think about it that much. I just felt that little Kiki was incredibly gifted. A genius without a teacher. She can talk now. I let out 2 excited growls, expressing happiness. Too bad I couldn't speak. After completing this evolution, I could now control up to 30 zombie puppets. My mind's influence stretched an astounding 8 kilometers. With this strength, I started expanding my army immediately. After Yun Ruoxu had eaten her fill, she no longer wanted to drink formula. She opened her mouth, revealed 2 rows of tiny milk teeth, telling me she didn't want milk. At that moment, another little boss told me he didn't want milk either. I felt awkward for a moment. Turns out little Kiki understands this better. So I went down to the 6th floor and started cooking rice porridge. Added formula, mashed it, and made rice paste. The little one took the spoon and started eating by herself. She even complained that I was clumsy, Dad. Let me do it myself. Seeing her eat so sweetly, I sighed in my heart that little Kiki finally grew up. After my strength improved, a bold idea came to mind. Can I control evolved zombies? The opportunity soon arose. One of my zombie puppets, thousands of meters away, spotted a lone tank-type evolved zombie. I disguised myself and the puppet as ordinary zombies and approached slowly. When I got within 100 meters, I unleashed my psychic power. The evolved zombie's mental defense was definitely tougher than that of normal zombies. There was obvious resistance, but my evolved psychic abilities were much stronger. I quickly broke through his defenses, successfully turned him into my zombie puppet. I named him Cannon. This guy was extremely robust. His arms were like prison bars. I went to the hardware store, found 2 iron hammers weighing over 100 pounds each, equipped him with them. He swung them with fierce energy. Just standing at the entrance of the community, he became the gatekeeper. With Cannon on guard, I felt totally secure. Then I also tamed an agile type evolved zombie. Named him Lightning. His speed was extremely fast. Expert at wielding twin blades. Perfectly made up for Cannon's lack of speed. 1 attacks, 1 defense. Plus more than 20 regular zombie puppets. I felt I could walk through the apocalypse like a boss. Meanwhile, while Cannon was searching for supplies, he encountered a mutant giant dog. Its body was nearly 2 meters long, covered in black, stiff fur. He encountered a mutant giant dog while searching for supplies. Its body was nearly 2 meters long, covered in black, stiff fur. Its build was as robust as a wild boar. This was the first time I'd seen a mutated non-human creature in the apocalypse. First time seeing other mutated creatures in the apocalypse. I commanded Cannon to fight. Cannon smashed the giant dog's front paw with a hammer, then finished it off by crushing its head. Retrieved a white crystal core from the dog's brain. Turns out mutant beasts also have crystal cores. I carried the giant dog's body back to the community. Ate some of its flesh myself to relieve hunger. The rest was saved for Cannon. Fresh meat allowed Cannon to heal his wounds visibly fast after devouring the mutant dog and the crystal core of a newly encountered tank-type zombie. My psychic strength rose again. But Yun Ruoxu didn't know any of this. When I was out, Yun Ruoxu secretly went downstairs to check things out. She found that the entire building from the 3rd to the 6th floor was completely stacked with supplies. Formula piled up like mountains. Bottled water reaching the ceiling. And tons of baby products and food. Oh my god, Zombie Dad has hoarded so many things. Aside from being shocked, he became even more certain. No way a regular zombie could move this much stuff. Impossible for a regular zombie to transport so many goods. He guessed it was some burrowing ability, using underground movement to quickly haul supplies. When he reached the 1st floor balcony, saw Cannon holding 2 hammers guarding the doorway. He became even more convinced. Dad must get in and out using some underground ability. Actually, Cannon was just my controlled zombie puppet. But Yun Ruoxu didn't know. He secretly decided, once he was strong enough, he'd take down this big guy first, to clear obstacles for Dad. He even found the property contract. Learned that his contract. Learned he was in Shanghai City. Hurriedly searched his memories from his previous life. Shanghai City had two famous powerhouses. One was the policewoman with 9 lives, the 9-death demon cop. The other was the mutant polar bear who controlled thunder. Thunder roar. If he could tame the demon cop before she fully grew, his future would be greatly strengthened. Future would be boosted a lot. Not long after, a military helicopter flew over the city, dropping leaflets. The military of Shanghai City had established a survivor base outside the city. I finished reading and tossed it aside. I'm a zombie. The human base has nothing to do with me. Yun Ruoxu coldly laughed as she crumpled the leaflet. She had lived in a survivor base in her previous life. It was filled with darkness and injustice, with those scheming people. Far better to stay with the zombie dad than be with them. While I kept growing stronger, policewoman Su Muking from the nearby station and her colleagues came to Sunshine Community looking for a truck. They wanted to drive survivors out of the city. But at the community entrance, they encountered Cannon. Su Muking picked up a rock and threw it at Cannon to distract him. He saw no reaction, so he pulled out a pistol and fired a shot. When I saw him pull a gun on Cannon, I got furious. I don't care what you're here for. If you dare to shoot at my roommate, you're dead. I controlled Cannon to raise his hammer and block the bullet. Immediately swung and threw the massive hammer at Su Muking. He never expected a zombie to attack with a flying hammer. Didn't react in time. Was struck by the hammer. Killed instantly on the spot. Those police officers who entered the neighborhood were all eliminated by my roommate. I confiscated a few from their bodies. The police officers were all wiped out by my roommate. I seized several police guns and bullets from them. But late at night, something strange happened. Su Muking's corpse actually came back to life under the crimson glow. Her body, shattered and broken, was completely restored. Her strength even doubled and increased. I saw this scene through Big Fat's perspective and was completely stunned. What the hell? The female cop just revived like a zombie. Su Muking herself looked utterly confused. She checked her body and found not a single scar anywhere. Her power and speed were greatly improved. She realized she might be an evolved being. She possessed the ability to resurrect after death. The next day, Su Muking showed up with people again. And this time, she brought even more fully armed officers. I was burning with rage. I had spared this woman's life last time, but she foolishly came back to provoke me. This time, I commanded 3 evolved zombies to attack. But after reviving, Su Muking's power skyrocketed. She could handle 3 zombies at once with ease. I had the gunman open fire as I instructed. She was even able to dodge most of the bullets. In the end, I managed to get another chance and killed her again. This time, I smashed her into pieces, making sure there was no chance of her coming back. But that night, she came back to life again. And her strength doubled yet again. Seriously? This woman is totally cheating. I was completely speechless. She dies and just revives and gets stronger each time. What's even more headache-inducing is, there's a hidden evolved being secretly assisting Su Muking. Every time my attack was about to hit her, it was inexplicably paused for 1 second. They could even make bullets curve mid-air. And that evolved being hiding in the shadows was actually Yun Ruoxu. She had previously discovered there seemed to be a zombie king in the neighborhood, secretly controlling all zombies. And through a secret art of transmitting thoughts, she allied with Su Muking. Herself, disguising as a mysterious figure called the Invisible, they planned to kill the zombie king together. Su Muking thought she'd found a like-minded partner, and cheerfully agreed to cooperate. That night, Su Muking lured Big Pa away at the entrance, successfully broke into the neighborhood, but I personally blocked her at Building 5 to protect Zhao Kiki on the 7th floor. I gathered all my roommates around Building 5. With a machete in hand, I attacked in a fury. Every move was ruthless and vicious. There was none of the usual gentleness. Yun Ruoxu observed secretly from the 2nd floor of Building 1, using her time manipulation ability to stop my lethal attacks again and again. but only to prevent Su Muking from being killed. She would never let Su Muking hurt me. Su Muking was completely puzzled by all this. Which side is this invisible person on anyway? I attacked this zombie, and Yan Ruoxu only delivered one message to this zombie: you can't touch him. The battle became fiercer and fiercer. My mother desperately tried to break into Building 5, but I blocked her with all my strength. I let out a series of anguished roars. The rage of someone fighting to protect their loved ones made the temperature in the whole neighborhood drop. At that moment, Yan Ruoxu finally discovered the truth. As Su Muking charged toward Building 5, all the zombies in the neighborhood swarmed furiously toward Building 5. They weren't protecting the zombie king, but the person on the 7th floor. And the one who commanded the zombies to defend with their lives was his zombie dad. Could it be that his father is the zombie king? All the clues connected at that very moment. The person is his zombie father. Could it be that his father is the zombie king? All the clues come together at this moment. His zombie father is the zombie king he's always wanted to hunt down. I really am so stupid. Yan Ruoxu almost dug up her own father's gold box to feed her own father. After figuring things out, he immediately stopped helping Su Muking. Without any hidden support, Su Muking instantly lost the upper hand. I control 3 evolved zombies, plus myself, treating him like a punching bag, and gave him a vicious beating. You're really a pain, Invisible One. Su Muking's last thought before passing out was, after I knocked him out, I wrote a note, really telling him to stay alive. If you die, everyone at the police station will be buried with you. The soft-hearted Su Muking finally gave in as expected. He just couldn't let others die because of him. The days that followed gradually became peaceful. I sparred with lightning every day to improve my combat skills. I even found a learning machine for little Kiki and literacy cards. The little one is growing up incredibly fast and can already read, write, and do arithmetic. I just feel my daughter is gifted by nature. Yan Ruoxu pretends to be following along with the learning machine, babbling as she learns to talk, feeling so helpless inside. In her previous life, she got into a top grad school, but now she has to repeat baby-level learning. At the same time, she sneaks downstairs every day when I'm out to secretly chat with Su Muking. The 2 one big, one small get along quite well. Su Muking has no defenses against this innocent, cute little girl, not wary at all. He ends up telling her everything about himself. And Yan Ruoxu is secretly plotting how to win this stubborn demon Chin over. After all, he has the potential to break into the Earth level in the future. If she can recruit him, he'll be a huge asset. I notice little Kiki likes to chat with Su Muking, and I don't object. After all, it's good she has a human to talk to. That's only a good thing. It's not bad. I don't object to Kiki liking to chat with Su Muking, since it's good to have a human interact with the kid. It's a good thing. Just every time, I make sure to lock up Su Muking's chains and have Lightning no one keep a close watch on him. Then suddenly, one day, my roommate sends new info. On a distant street, an unprecedented Tier 2 tyrant zombie has appeared. This zombie's arms have completely turned into claws, with terrifying strength and speed. An evolved human is being chased by it, scrambling for his life. That person is the dolly guy who fought me after losing his mate before. Taiju, the tyrant. Wounds on the zombie actually heal automatically. Taiju hacked at it several times to no avail. In the end, Taiju squeezed into a narrow alley, barely escaping with his life. I have an idea in my mind. This tyrant is way too powerful. I can't win in a head-on fight, but I have a better way. I control lightning to lure the tyrant near the police station. Su Muking happened to be returning from scavenging supplies and saw the tyrant. Without hesitation, he distracts it to protect the people at the station. As the snipe and clam fight, the fisherman takes all. After Su Muking battles the tyrant and realizes he can't win, he lures it to the gas station and shoots the fuel tank, causing a massive fire at the station. The tyrant crawls out of the flames, completely charred, but unbelievably not dead yet. But it's already seriously injured. I immediately send Erpang and Lightning to rush in. The wounded tyrant can't stop them at all. Erpang smashes it crazily with his more than 1-ton steel club, and soon it can't even stand. Lightning uses his steel blade to keep cutting, and finally kills the tyrant. After taking out the Tier 2 core, I'm overjoyed. But this time, I didn't rush to absorb it. First, I made a meal for little Kiki, and set up defenses. Then went to Building 4, and swallowed the core. The immense energy immediately allowed me to make a breakthrough. After making a meal for little Kiki and setting up defenses, I finally go to Building 4, and swallow the core. The immense energy lets me successfully break through to Tier 3. My physical strength improves dramatically, and my power increases multiple times over. My control range expanded from 10 kilometers to several dozen kilometers. I can control more than 100 ordinary corpse puppets. I can easily control Tier 2 evolved zombies too. Can even outpace the agile zombie Lightning. And take on Depang, the tank-type zombie, head-on.
Now,
I finally look like a real post-apocalyptic survivor. Not long after reaching Tier 3, I subdued another one. A Tier 2 tank zombie as big as a small car, named Erpang. I equipped him with a metal staff weighing over 1 ton. When Erpang smashes down, he can crush a car to scrap metal. Throw it and it can punch through concrete walls. With Erpang guarding, even evolved zombies dare not approach the neighborhood gate. Meanwhile, Yun Ruoxu secretly broke through to Tar 3 too. After the breakthrough, her telekinesis greatly improved, able to shoot iron nails at incredible speed, combined with time manipulation, enough to kill silently. Looking at the entire apocalypse, she's already one of the strongest humans. At some point, I found a book called Bloody Fiend Blade Technique by my feet. I thought some mysterious master left it behind, so I started learning. Turns out, Yun Ruoxu secretly wrote it in a notebook and tossed it to me. This blade technique uses blood to condense fiendish energy. Once mastered, you don't need brute force. Your own blood fiend energy becomes the sharpest blade of all. After training in it, I improved incredibly fast, and my fighting power took a real leap. But the peace didn't last long. A 5-person evolver team came from the survivor base to Shanghai City to gather supplies. They found out all the supplies near Sunny Community had been moved out. Coming from the survivor base to Shanghai City to gather supplies, they found out all the supplies near Sunny Community had been cleaned out. By tracking those moving the supplies, they found the neighborhood. That night, they climbed over the wall and snuck in, unaware that, the moment they landed, I'd already noticed them. My army of corpse puppets quickly surrounded the evolved zombies. Lightning No. 2 instantly sliced down one of them. Depang's double hammers knocked 2 melee-type evolved humans backward. Amid the chaos, I struck in person, delivering a cross-slash using the Bloody Fiend Blade technique, and cut down the last fleeing evolver, clean in half. We found survivor base IDs on them, which made me realize the human faction was developing faster than I thought. Sunny Community will be exposed sooner or later. I've decided to move. My target is Kingshui Farm on the outskirts. Plenty of open, farmable land, far from any human settlements, with plenty of zombies nearby, perfect for recruiting more troops. Most importantly, it'll give little Kiki a better place to grow up. Little Kiki, you can't stay locked up in a concrete building forever. He needs sunlight, fresh air, and fresh vegetables. Speaking of vegetables, I really feel sorry for the little guy. His diet has been way too limited for so long. Just formula, scrambled eggs with rice and rice cereal every day. Not even a single leaf of greens. Once we get to the farm, we can control the zombie puppets to cultivate fields and plant crops ourselves. So little Kiki can finally eat fresh fruits and veggies. There's still one thing left to take care of before we leave. Su Muking's resurrection ability is just too troublesome. It's hard to let go, but since we're leaving this place, it's better to just let her go. From now on, we'll never meet again. I told little Kiki my decision. She nodded obediently, then asked if her big sister would want to come with us. I knew in my heart, with Su Muking's personality, she can't leave the survivors at the police station behind. There's no way she'd come with us. When I wasn't paying attention, Yan Ruoksu secretly slipped a note into Su Muking's hand. Kingshui Farm. Before leaving, Su Muking asked Yan Ruoksu, "Do you still remember our promise?" Yan Ruoksu smiled and said, "If one day you realize that this world isn't as beautiful as you imagined, when you don't want to protect others anymore, remember to come protect me, okay?" After Su Muking hobbled back to the police station, he found something that completely broke him. The survivors he'd risked his life to protect had all degenerated into flesh-eating monsters. They killed every officer who refused to go along with them. They even killed Su Muking himself. Su Muking resurrected for the third time. His power surged again. He personally executed every cannibal. Didn't leave a single one behind. The last young man kneeled on the ground, begging for mercy. "Officer Su, you're a good person. I just wanted to survive. I didn't mean to." Su Muking turned to leave, but then the sound of a pistol being cocked came from behind. He lunged like lightning and broke the guy's ribs with a single punch. "Why? Why did you lie to me?" Looking at all the corpses, Su Muking was devastated. He remembered Yan Ruoksu's words. What if those people aren't worth protecting at all? Yeah, are such lowly beasts really worth protecting? Looking at the note with Kingshui Farm written on it in his hand, Su Muking took one last look at the police station he'd once planned to dedicate his whole life to, then turned around and disappeared into the night. "Little Kiki, I'm coming to find you." On the day we set off, 5 heavy trucks rolled out of Sunshine Community in a mighty convoy. Every driver's seat was occupied by zombies. Hundreds more followed behind the drivers. 5 heavy trucks rolled out from Sunshine Community in a mighty convoy, with every driver's seat taken up by zombies. Hundreds more followed behind the drivers, making up a fully armed zombie puppet army. The sight of zombies driving trucks left the survivors along the road slack-jawed in shock. An evolver searching for supplies in a store saw 5 massive trucks roar past with his own eyes. The driver's seats were full of vicious zombie faces. Am I hallucinating? Zombies can drive trucks now? Along the way, more and more evolvers and zombies were drawn to the convoy by all the noise. I didn't turn anyone away. I used telekinesis to take control and absorb them all. In fact, our numbers didn't decrease after. They just kept growing. When we passed near the Zhangha City Zoo, a fully golden second-stage mutant giant python was coiled up in the middle of the road, completely blocking the way. The thing was over 20 meters long. Its scales shimmered with a golden sheen. The 2 zombie puppets scouting ahead were swallowed whole. I made a panglet with his steel rod in front, and he smashed the python's head, stunning it. Dapang and the other tank zombies flanked it on both sides. The giant python started slithering around, and all the agile zombies swarmed in, using steel knives to slash at the snake's body repeatedly. At the key moment, a tyrant zombie jumped down from a tall building, its claws stabbing right into the neck. It ripped open a huge wound. A pang followed right after, and smashed the python's skull with one blow. After extracting the second-stage crystal core, I decided to let a pang swallow it. Cores below stage 3 aren't of much use to me anymore, but they make the zombie puppets much stronger. It's quality over quantity for troops. I want to build an elite force made up entirely of high-level mutant zombies. Yan Ruoksu stared at the huge body of the python, her eyes literally shining with excitement. "Dad, I want to eat snake meat." The little one is so sick of formula and scrambled rice, she'd probably throw up. Seeing such a big snake is just, I want to eat snake meat. The little one is about to throw up from eating milk formula and fried rice every day. When she saw such a huge snake, she couldn't move another step. But I'm not sure if humans can eat mutant beast meat, so I have to make a note of it first. I'll find a human survivor to use as a guinea pig to test it in the future. Once Dad confirms it's safe, I'll give it to you. Yan Ruoksu was a bit disappointed, but she understood her father's caution. He knew in his heart that not only was mutant beast meat edible, it was actually very nourishing. But there was no way to explain that. The convoy kept moving forward. The tall buildings on both sides gradually disappeared. They were replaced by a desolate but open suburban landscape. I checked the map. In just over 10 minutes, we'd reach Kingshui Farm. The sunset turned the sky blood red in the evening. I gazed at the scenery receding outside the window, then looked to my side. Little Kiki was quietly leaning against the window, watching the outside. The afterglow of the sunset was reflected in the little one's eyes. This was his first time leaving Sunshine Community since his rebirth, to see the world outside. I reached out and gently pinched her chubby cheek. With a sweet smile, she looked up and grinned at me. "Daddy, the outside world is so big." Yes, the outside world is really big. And also very dangerous. But no matter what happens to this world, as long as Kiki is by my side, everything has meaning. On the distant horizon, the silhouette of a vast farm flickered in and out of view under the sunset. That was our new home, Kingshui Farm. And behind us, deep in the ruins of Shanghai City, dozens of kilometers away, a figure radiating a terrifying aura was speeding along the tire tracks, chasing quickly. Su Muking's gentle and kind gaze had already disappeared. It was replaced by coldness and determination. But when he thought of that little girl hugging her bottle, smiling at him, he couldn't help but let the corners of his mouth curl up. After arriving at Kingshui Farm, when I thought of the little girl with the bottle smiling at me, I couldn't help but let the corners of my mouth curl up. After we arrived at Kingshui Farm, I followed the directions on the map and drove along the path through the woods for a while. We finally saw the sign for the farm entrance. On either side of the steel gate were fences made of wooden stakes and barbed wire. Warning signs for high-voltage electricity hung on the fence. The barbed wire even showed signs of being forcibly damaged. I sat in the truck, content, inspecting the farm. Kingshui Farm was quiet, not easy to be spotted by others, and much larger than Sunshine Community. Big enough for me and Kiki, and our huge puppet army. Most importantly, it wasn't so oppressive here, making it a great place for the little one to grow up. "Daddy, are we here?" Yan Ruoksu stretched lazily. I nodded my head. I first dispatched a pair of roommates to enter the farm via the breached section of the fence and investigate. As soon as the roommates went in, I frowned tightly. The farm was covered in dried, dark brown bloodstains. I focused on finding the vegetable garden, only to discover that all the farm's vegetable plots had been destroyed. There were huge footprints on the ground as well. Seems like there are mutant animals in the farm. Just then, the sounds of fighting and animal roars echoed from deep inside the farm. I controlled the corpse puppets and headed toward the noise. In the poultry area, I found a giant mutant ox. The craziest part was, this yellow ox actually had fangs even more exaggerated than those of a lion or tiger. It was gnawing at the corpse of some unknown animal. After the apocalypse, even cows started eating meat. When the giant ox spotted the puppets, it charged without hesitation. This guy reached the second-tier level, so ordinary puppets were no match at all. I sent a Pang and Tyrant No, one in to fight. A Pang smashed the giant ox on the head with his club, causing it to see stars. Tyrant No, one seized the chance to claw open a massive wound, but the hide of this giant ox was tough as ever. Tyrant No, one seized the chance to claw open a massive wound, but the hide of this giant ox had evolved to be extremely tough. Luckily, it couldn't dodge. After a few rounds, it finally collapsed. Tyrant's claws pierced its skull. I retrieved a nearly evolved orange second-tier crystal core. After dispatching the giant ox, I continued searching. By the western fish pond, I found a wide crawling trail at the water's edge. When I moved the puppet closer to the water, a giant turtle suddenly leapt out of the water and bit off the griffin's ankle in one snap. What a huge turtle! Its shell was incredibly hard. When the griffin punched it, the rebound snapped the griffin's wrist. I didn't plan to kill it for now. Just had 2 griffins stand guard by the shore to keep it from coming up. 1,000-year turtle, 10,000-year tortoise. Once I confirm that mutant animal meat is edible, I'll save it for Kiki to build up her health. I searched the entire farm inside and out twice. After confirming it's safe, I started a large-scale cleanup. Once the residential area looked brand new, I took Kiki by the hand and walked into the farm. Is this going to be our home from now on, Daddy? It does look pretty good. Yanruaksu curiously looked around, her eyes full of anticipation. After moving in, my top priority was safety. Apang guarded the south gate with a large club. Lightning Nuz, 1, 2, and 3 led a pair of roommates to guard the other 3 sides. Dapang and Tyrant no. One stayed close to protect Kiki. The whole farm was turned by me into an impenetrable iron cage. Looking at the sleeping Kiki, I felt a surge of accomplishment. Little Kiki, sleep well. From now on, Kingshui Farm will be our new home. When Kiki woke up the next day, I had already made breakfast. There was even a plate of fresh fruit on the table. There were still plenty of fruits hanging on trees in the orchard at the north end of the farm. Kiki's eyes lit up, her nose intoxicated by the aroma of the fruit. After eating her fill, she went outside and saw pairs of fully armed zombies patrolling the farm in an orderly way. Daddy, you really are amazing. The way you control these zombies is far better than an ordinary zombie king. She hugged my leg and begged to go for a walk. I gave in and took her by the hand to the vegetable garden. Kiki was shocked to see me making the zombies farm the land. It was unbelievable. I grew up in the countryside in my last life, farming with my grandparents. I really know what I'm doing on the farm. I am confident I can reclaim the destroyed vegetable plots. Meanwhile, I took the 2 second-tier mutant beast crystal cores I got earlier and fed them to Apang. Apang successfully advanced to Tier 3, his body swelling up to the size of a large truck, with black scales starting to grow on his body. He became immune to blades and bullets couldn't even penetrate. I tried a machete on him and only left some minor scratches on the scales. Apang has now become the main battle tank of the zombie world. With this Tier 3 general guarding the gate, I feel much more confident. At the same time, I found a new way to get stronger. Since high-level zombies are so rare, I'll just use crystal cores to feed and upgrade my puppets myself. Kiki wasn't idle either during this time. She secretly went to the fish pond to feed that mutant old turtle, feeding it mutant python meat for 3 days in a row. He even hid his own blood inside the meat. On the 3rd day, he used an ancient beast-taming technique that he had acquired from his past life's secret realm. He formed a contract with the giant turtle. From then on, he could give simple commands to the old turtle, and even communicate with it through telepathy. He also taught the turtle his breathing cultivation technique, planning to train it in the future. He had already taught the breathing technique to the old turtle, planning to train it in the future, so that it could become as powerful as the Zhuanwu giant turtle from his past life. But I had no idea about any of this. I just thought Kiki liked having the old turtle as a pet, so I let him be. Next, I built a small amusement park for Kiki. I moved a carousel and other rides from the city amusement park. Since there was no electricity, I converted everything to be powered by zombie labor. When Kiki saw it, even though he wasn't really interested in these kids' rides, he knew it was his dad's gesture, so he played along and acted happy. I never expected that. In his previous life as an orphan, he never once had such carefree fun. Now his childlike heart was awakened, and he was having the time of his life. When we were chasing each other on the carousel, if you ignored the zombies powering the rides, it would have looked like a picture-perfect, heartwarming scene. But while Lightning No, one was ferrying the rides back and forth, a mutant named Limo, who had awakened the ability to turn invisible, was secretly observing us all along. He followed the Lightning No, one truck, and ended up at Kingshui Farm. What he saw on the farm completely shattered his worldview. Finally, he discovered a human little girl, actually living among a horde of zombies. He guessed that Kiki was controlling these zombies, and greed instantly overcame him. He wanted to kidnap Kiki and take control of the zombie army. When Limo turned invisible and sneaked into Kiki's bedroom, just as he was about to strike with his dagger, his whole body suddenly froze in place. Yunruaksu used her power to freeze time. Then she jumped up and sent him flying with a single slap. Afterwards, she used a soul tool technique from her past life's secret realm to engrave a blood-red rune in his mind. completely controlling his life and death. Do you want to die? Or do you want to live? Limo didn't hesitate at all. The blood-red rune etched into his mind gave her complete control over his life. Do you want to die? Or do you want to live? Limo didn't hesitate for a second, and chose to submit. Yan Ruoxu ordered him to infiltrate the Shanghai city survivor base as a spy, and come back regularly to report intel. I was completely unaware of any of this, and just saw Kiki happily playing on the farm every day. A few more days went by, and I was out in the city hunting evolved zombies, gathering crystal nuclei all the while. By chance, I ran into Su Muking again on a nearby street. What is this woman doing here too? It turns out that after what happened at the police station, Su Muking had come all this way just to find Kiki. She was in terrible shape along the journey, constantly harassed by that vengeful tunneling zombie, to the point of near mental breakdown. I knocked her out and chained her beside the playground slide at the amusement park. But this time, Su Muking's personality seemed to have undergone an enormous change. After being betrayed by the survivors at the police station, she was completely disillusioned with humanity. All she wanted now was to protect Kiki. Kiki seized the chance to slowly win her over by bringing her food and talking to her. For the first time since the apocalypse, Su Muking had enough to eat and drink, and could finally live in comfort without fear or worry. She even had to admit to herself that living with the zombie king was even more comfortable than living among other humans. Meanwhile, I kept building my strength, scouring Jiangnan City for more evolved zombies. By feeding the Jing River, I managed to raise over 30 Tier 2 zombie puppets under my command. One night, after hunting a mutant beast on Huanglong Mountain, I harvested a Tier 3 crystal nucleus. With the steady yield from the zombie breeding base at the sports arena and continual harvesting, I finally gathered enough resources to attempt a breakthrough to Tier 4. I swallowed 4 Tier 3 crystal nuclei at once and instantly broke through to Tier 4. My mental power surged several times over, and my control range expanded rapidly. Breaking through Stage 4, mental strength surged several times over. Control range exceeded 50 kilometers. My body underwent a complete transformation, except for my dark red pupils. I am now almost indistinguishable from a living person. Next, I managed to raise 4 Stage 4 griffins in one go. At the same time, Yun Ruoxu also secretly broke through to Stage 4. Her telekinesis soared, allowing her to fly for long periods. She can perform all kinds of elemental secret arts. He used spirit summoning techniques to control small bees and monitor the farm inside and out. He also took advantage of my inattention to perform a blood refining technique on the bloodthirsty demon vines around the farm, bringing them under control. Those bloodthirsty demon vines are mutated plants I transplanted back from Huanglong Mountain, capable of draining all the blood and flesh from living things, but completely unresponsive to zombies. I planted them a kilometer away from the farm to form a defensive line, but after further blood refinement, this line of defense became a deadly formation he could completely control. But a new crisis was approaching. Shanghai Survivor Base announced the concept of a zombie king for the first time, due to a zombie horde appearing on the map. The previous encounter of Wang Zhang's team in the Jiangnan urban area caught the attention of the leadership. A stealth reconnaissance team led by Limo was dispatched, consisting of several stealth users. After Yun Ruoxu sensed Limo's approach, she flew out of the farm overnight to meet him, ordered him to report back that no zombie king was found, but he also killed the disobedient team leader and used a soul artifact to control the remaining 3 members. But Wang Zhang is extremely perceptive. After noticing something wrong with the stealth team, he set up an interrogation and hypnotized them, preventing the soul artifact from activating. All 4 stealth users died on the spot. Clearly something was amiss. Wang Zhang was shocked and became even more convinced there was a zombie king hiding in the Jiangnan urban area. After the report was made, the base's top commander was furious. He decided to dispatch. A zombie king is lurking in the Jiangnan urban area. After the report was made, the base's top commander was furious, decided to send in 3 elite squads to carry out a capture mission in the Jiangnan urban area. Yan Ruoxu sensed Limo and the others dying and the shockwave of their souls. She immediately realized her cover was blown. A storm is coming, but he remained calm. With his current strength, as long as the humans don't deploy large-scale military forces, just the teams of evolvers alone are no match for him or his father. He devoted all his energy to cultivation. Once he breaks through to stage 5, even if he faces attacks from the human army with hot weapons, he is confident he can survive. Otherwise, he would have no idea about all these hidden currents, and would still be hunting mutated monsters on Huanglong Mountain to collect crystal cores for his dorm mate's army. 3 elite squads landed outside the Jiangnan urban area. Wang Zhang took overall command.
Team captains Li Feng and Zhang Hai cooperated with him.
There was an evolver in the team codenamed Falcon, who could share vision with his contracted mutated black eagle. Falcon quickly made a discovery. Oh my god, it's really a zombie driving. He saw a mutated zombie driving a truck through the city, transporting mutated beast meat to the stadium to feed the zombie horde. Wang Zhang made a decisive call to keep tracking this truck and see where it's headed, while I was completely clueless. After I finished feeding the zombies in the stadium with my corpse puppet, I drove the truck back to Kingshui Farm. Above the truck, that black eagle followed closely like a shadow. Falcon followed the truck all the way to the outskirts of Kingshui Farm. Falcon used eagle vision to take in the entire farm and located that zombie. Saw it drive the truck into a farm on the city outskirts. Falcon reported in a low voice. The farm's defenses are extremely tight. There is a large area of blood-red vines outside the wall. At the gate stands a giant zombie as tall as a 2-story building. The blood-red vines. At the entrance stands a gigantic zombie as big as a 2-story building. Wang Zhang and the others' faces changed dramatically. The zombie king's lair is in that farm. Zhang Hai swallowed nervously. That huge thing at the gate must be at least a stage 3 tank-type zombie. That level of defense. I also saw that inside the farm there are several massive mutated zombies patrolling. The aura is incredibly strong. There are at least 4 or 5 stage 3 level monsters. He couldn't see everything clearly. The black eagle couldn't fly any lower, so he couldn't scout the area completely. What now? Attack directly? Li Feng asked with a frown. Wang Zhang shook his head. No. The situation isn't clear. Attacking rashly is too risky. Send the intel back to base first. Let the higher-ups decide the next step. Also, those blood-red vines don't look normal to me. They seem like some kind of mutated plant. They might actually be zombies' king's defense mechanism. And what about that mysterious little girl? If the zombie king's lair is really inside this farm, then that little girl is probably in there too. But the biggest threat right now isn't the little girl. It's the zombie king himself. If we alarm him, we'll all die here. After the 3 discussed, they decided not to act for now, and sent the farm's location and defense details back to Jianghai base via communication devices. Waiting for instructions from above, the intel quickly reached the top commander's desk. A tense atmosphere filled the meeting room once again. Commander Wang Zhang's team has confirmed the location. The farm's defenses are extremely tight. There are at least several stage 3 evolved zombies stationed there. There is also an unknown mutated plant defense line outside the wall. Stage 3 zombies. The top commander's brow furrowed deeply. How many stage 3 evolvers do we have at the base? No more than 10, and they're spread across various posts. It's hard to pull them all out. The meeting room fell silent. Everyone knew, with the current base strength, to launch a frontal assault on a stronghold guarded by multiple stage 3 zombies. The chances of victory are slim to none. We can't force it. The top commander finally decided to strengthen surveillance for now, to find out the zombie king's activity patterns and maximum strength, and report to the imperial capital, requesting reinforcements. Additionally, we need to accelerate the training of our own high-level evolvers. Before reinforcements from the imperial capital arrive, we absolutely must not alert the enemy. But what they don't know is that the one stationed at the farm gate, a Pang, is now already stage 4, plus my main body.
Kingshui Farm actually has 6 stage 4 combatants.
But they're still evaluating my strength based on stage 3. Inside Kingshui Farm, after a day of hunting, I came home and made a hearty dinner for Kiki. Kiki ate happily, with rice stuck to her lips, smiling at me. Su Muking also quietly ate the food Kiki brought, while secretly glancing at me. How did this zombie king change so much again? If you don't look closely, you might think he's human. He was shocked inside. A shocking guess flashed through his mind. Could it be that this zombie king will eventually evolve back into a living person? That night, Kiki suddenly came to see Su Muking. If humans ever try to harm my dad, which side will you help? Su Muking stayed silent for a long time. He didn't answer. Which side will you help? Su Muking stayed silent for a long time. He didn't answer. Kiki didn't mind either. She turned to leave and simply said, "Forget it. There's no point telling you anyway." Su Muking sat weakly on the bed, watching Kiki's back as she left. His heart was in turmoil. Humans and the zombie king were destined to become enemies. But Su Muking recalled his experience at the police station. Then he thought about this farm. Every day, Kiki brought him food and chatted with him. Although the zombie king kept him here like a pet, he was never really hurt. He suddenly felt ridiculous. Su Muking lay back on the bed, staring at the slide above his head. He couldn't sleep all night. Meanwhile, dozens of kilometers away on a high ground, Wang Zheng's Black Hawk was still circling above Kingshui Farm. The falcon suddenly opened his eyes. "Captain Wang, a truck just left the farm. It headed toward Wanglong Mountain." Wang Zheng nodded. "Keep watching. Track his daily routines. Departure times, routes, return times. Document everything. Also, try to get a look at the farm's core area, especially where that zombie king, his real body actually is." The Black Hawk silently circled overhead. Everything at Kingshui Farm was clearly in view. Yan Ruoxu was sitting on a swing, swaying back and forth. Her white dress billowed in the wind. A radiant smile on her rosy little face. Looks like little Kiki has settled things. Leaning against the slide, Su Muking watched Kiki. "You finally came out today." Yan Ruoxu nodded. "Now, even if the Jianghai base sends people to the farm, it's just sending them to die. So Kiki, will you come out every day from now on?" Su Muking was. Su Muking looked a bit hopeful. He was really bored staying in the amusement park alone. Of course, Yan Ruoxu nodded seriously. "Since I want to win over this 9 lives demon cop, naturally I have to build up rapport." Su Muking suddenly said seriously, "I'll help you and your dad." Yan Ruoxu realized this was Su Muking's answer to her question the other day. His reply really surprised her. After all, Su Muking was loyal to the authorities, valuing the protection of survivors above his own life. "Why?" "Because I promised to protect you," Su Muking said earnestly. He believed the zombie king possessed human consciousness and had never slaughtered humans. With little Kiki as a tie, the zombie king wasn't aggressive. But if humans threatened Kiki, no one knew if the zombie king would go berserk. Meanwhile, the Black Hawk followed the truck as it left Jiangnan City and flew over the farmland in the outskirts. Through its shadow, the falcon took in the whole farm. But what shocked him most was, a little girl was playing on a swing, and there was a human woman nearby, leaning against the slide talking to her. "Captains, I found that mysterious little girl, and there's a human woman with her." When the message went back, the 3 captains exchanged looks. Wang Lei said gravely, "Is it possible that little girl is the zombie king?" Yan Ruoxu suddenly sensed something was watching her. Mentally, waves surged inside her. She sent her awareness outward like water. She discovered a Black Hawk circling above. This was definitely not a wild mutant beast, but rather an evolver's contract pet. Yan Ruoxu immediately understood. The mutant beasts are actually contracted pets of the evolvers. Yan Ruoxu quickly figured it out. It must be the Jianghai base. They've sent people over again. He directly launched a psychic attack at the invisible swordsman, pierced into the Black Hawk's brain. The Black Hawk's body shuddered. The falcon thought it was due to exhaustion.
He quickly recalled it.
Yan Ruoxu smiled knowingly. She immediately controlled a sparrow to follow. The sparrow tracked them the whole way. Finally, outside the city in a ravine, she found 3 evolver squads. Through the sparrow, Yan Ruoxu heard their entire plan for a night raid. What amused her the most was, This group mistook her for the zombie king. After Yan Ruoxu returned to her senses, she ran straight to me, pointing to the sky. Dad, I just saw a flying person. A flying person. Could it be that the evolvers have discovered the farm? After confirming with little Kiki, I concluded that the farm has been exposed. Facing the sudden appearance of evolvers, I felt a heavy sense of foreboding. I immediately called back all the corpse puppets to the 4 leaders. All the Tier 4 corpse puppets were gathered near the residence. To protect Kiki, Su Muking also noticed something was wrong. What's going on with little Kiki? What else but human evolvers causing trouble? Could there be anything else? Little Kiki, can you ask your dad to unchain me? I could help too. Yan Ruoxu shook her head with a smile. We don't need you for now. My dad can handle it. Night fell. I sat in the living room, eyes closed, calming myself. I monitored the entire farm inside and out through the corpse puppet's perspective. In the woods 2 kilometers outside the farm, 3 evolver squads revealed themselves. That's our destination ahead. Everyone, stay alert. Wang Lei wore a serious expression. On a tree branch, a small bee on the tree was watching them. Here come the ones courting death. A look of disdain flashed in Yun Ruoxu's eyes. As the 3 teams approached the bloodthirsty vine wall, squatting down as they prepared to cut the vines, the bloodthirsty demon vine pierced through the bodies of all 3, ravenously devouring their flesh. Not good, the energy's off. These vines are suspicious. When Wang Lei and the others realized it, 5 people had already been swallowed by the vine wall. Someone else was pierced through during the chaos. Meanwhile, I spotted the intruders through the corpse puppet's eyes. All right, since you're seeking death, I'll grant your wish. I commanded all Tier 4 corpse puppets to gather at the residential area. Tyrant No. 1 and Pang charged out first. Pang smashed his club down, hitting the leading evolver, shattering both person and the rock shield together. Flame No. 1 raised both hands. A dozen massive fireballs rained down from the sky, exploding in the crowd. 4 slower evolvers were engulfed by the flames instantly. The remaining 6 were blown away, charred black everywhere. Shield Emperor No. 1 then summoned earth walls, trapping the survivors inside. The wall advanced slowly from within. Someone tried to climb the high wall, but was blasted by a fireball from outside by Flame No. 1. Captain Li took advantage of the chaos to escape over the wall, but was met by Tyrant No. 1 waiting outside, who punched him into the ground. Captain Lin's team sacrificed themselves, right? But I didn't notice. 1 evolver using a substitute ability, pulling a cicada shedding its shell moved to escape. Through the bloodthirsty vine's perspective, Yan Ruoxu noticed 1 body wasn't devoured. There's a survivor. Yan Ruoxu's brow furrowed deeply. The other party must have escaped using a clone ability. But his true strength wasn't revealed. They even mistook him for the zombie king. Maybe next time, he can give them a nasty surprise? At night, Su Muking tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. Suddenly, he had an idea. What if he could stop humans from targeting the zombie king and achieve peaceful coexistence between both sides? Qian Yan brought back news of 3 squads being completely wiped out. The zombie king commands multiple Tier 4 evolved zombies. And there's a demon vine that attacks humans, Yan Yan said shakily. The news spread. High Command immediately decided to request help from the capital. Yan Ruoxu persuaded me to unlock Su Muking's chains. Su Muking then asked to talk to me. In the living room, Su Muking got straight to the point. Zombie King, you still retain your human consciousness, right? My eyes turned cold. This was my biggest secret. I wrote, I won't kill you. Go on, Su Muking took a deep breath. After all, little Kiki is human. Don't you want her to live with humans, not zombies, for the rest of her life? That left me speechless. If I became the leader of humanity one day, would you be willing to coexist peacefully with humans? Yan Ruoxu and I were both stunned by that question. But I didn't refuse outright. Let's talk when you really become humanity's leader. The next day, Yan Ruoxu decided to reveal part of her power in front of me. to assure me she could be trusted if freed. Su Muking, Dad. I think I awakened a superpower. He spread his arms and flew around the room. I was overwhelmed with excitement. Little Kiki became an evolver. I began to carefully train little Kiki, letting him practice attacks with iron nails, and prepared poison needles for him as secret weapons. Little Kiki practiced attacking with iron nails, while I gave him poison needles as secret weapons. Little Kiki is my biggest trump card. Shanghai base finally got a response from the capital. They sent the Sky Team for support. All Sky Team members are Tier 3 flying evolvers. 5 armed helicopters flew in quickly in formation, bombarding the farm fiercely. Damn it, my farm! But the Tier 4 corpse puppets remained unscathed. Flame No. 1 and Flame No. 2 transformed into flame giants, forming a massive fire web in the sky, trapping the Sky Team in the air, unable to escape. No. 1's bloodthirsty lightning orb and bloodthirsty divine light, combined with Tyrant No. 1's steel claws, took down the escaping evolvers one after another. Yun Ruoxu secretly used her time control ability, working together with poison needles to eliminate several enemies rushing toward the residence. Su Muking risked his life to protect her, but little Kiki was stabbed in the abdomen and collapsed in a pool of blood. He soon revived though, and kept fighting. All 3 elite squads and the Sky Team were completely wiped out. Only Qian Yun, who has a substitute ability, managed to escape again. The farm was left in ruins. I decided not to rebuild. It's already exposed. Wherever little Kiki goes from now on, that will be our new home. I wrote on paper. Su Muking chose to stay. To go with us? After the convoy left the farm, we went south all the way, reaching Baikan City, unleashing a horde of zombies, harvesting evolved zombies, and wiping out the local Longhu gang. Longhu gang's second in command, Jiang Qing, and a flying evolver, escaped to Baikan base to inform on me. After harvesting all the evolved zombies in Baikan City, the convoy set off again. After breaking through Tier 5, my psychic powers soared, and my control range broke through 50 kilometers. The same range went beyond 50 kilometers, able to simultaneously control a large number of Tier 4 zombie puppets. Already has 3 Tier 5 zombie puppets under command. But the city area of Shanchuan is completely different. Ferocious beasts are everywhere. I led my zombie puppet army, hunting ferocious beasts rampantly in the city, collected a large number of crystal cores. After wiping out the Beast King sect that occupied Kangyu Mountain, I looted their cave, gathered a huge amount of supplies and vegetables. Before dying, the Beast King sect protector mentioned, the sect leader went to subdue a Tier 5 beast. This made me alert. Beast King sect leader Wang Zhuan really came looking for us. Before the apocalypse, this guy was just a loan shark's thug. Rose up after awakening beast taming abilities. His sister was driven to death by the powerful. He wants to use Thunder Roar's power to destroy Shanchuan base. Actually, we have a common enemy. Let's cooperate, but Mukin decisively refused.
Sorry.
I'm not interested. After being brushed off by Huang Zhuan, that night he sent a mutant pangolin to attack Shakiki from underground. But Yun Ruoxu killed it with a single blow. The pangolin scared Huang Zhuan into fleeing in panic and leaked our location to Zhanghai Base City. Yun Ruoxu was in Shanshuan City, successfully broke through to Tier 5 psychic control. She could even condense tangible psychic needles to pierce walls. Time manipulation. She even mastered the secrets of time. Makes the target suddenly wither. Su Muking also broke through to Tier 4, enhanced by both cultivation techniques and actual combat. From now on, Anjia Lin will be called Black Bull Knight. No way, absolutely not. Su Muking exploded in protest. The capital sent their strongest ace team, Tanglong Squad. This squad has killed the Zombie King before. The key person is the Pretender Zhao. The strongest ace, Tanglong Squad. This squad has killed the Zombie King before. The key person is the Pretender Zhao Bing. Can disguise as any living being and infiltrate enemy ranks. Their plan is to repeat their old tactics. The outer group distracts attention. Zhao Bing disguises as a zombie and sneaks in. Once finding the Zombie King, they kill with one blow. One night, Yun Ruoxu finally worked up the courage to confess to me, Dad. Actually, I can control time. She used her power to make a pot of devil's ivy wither instantly. A piece of snake meat shriveled into a rock in a blink. I was shocked and even more curious. But Shakiki revealed something even more astounding. Dad, actually, I'm already a tier 5 evolver. I was completely stunned, but didn't ask further. As long as she's my daughter, that's all that matters, Dad. From now on, I'll protect you. Shakiki raised her little fists, beamed brightly. I rubbed her head, feeling warm and proud inside. After the team entered Lijiang City, as usual, I used zombie puppets to harvest zombie crystal cores. But Lijiang base responded extremely fast. They mobilized all their forces, launching a fierce attack on Henge community. Flame No One is immune to physical attacks thanks to its fire spirit body. But the barrage from self-propelled howitzers caught me off guard. At the critical moment, Yun Ruoxu struck out in fury. No one can hurt my dad. Time manipulation. She unleashed her full power. All the shells returned back thanks to psychic force. Directly wiped out the heavy artillery regiment's position. Survivors retreated in panic, only to be hunted by my zombie puppet army. Only one evolver escaped, holding the commander by teleporting. This battle nearly wiped out Lijiang base's offensive force. Their combat strength was almost annihilated. I watched as Xiaokiki revealed her terrifying power. Almost all of them were wiped out. Watching the terrifying strength Xiaokiki displayed, I felt incredibly proud. The moment he acted, the humans were utterly defeated. Any tier 5 zombie puppet under my command might not necessarily be his match. Meanwhile, in the distance, a helicopter from the Tenglong team is flying towards Shanchuan City. That man, Xiaobing, who can disguise himself as any living creature, is currently wiping his combat knife, a confident smile on his face. Captain, don't worry. I guarantee I'll complete the mission this time. After the battle at Lijiang ended, I sat on the sofa in the living room, scanning the surroundings through the vision of my zombie puppets. Dad, we can't stay here any longer. Yun Ruoxu walked over to me, her face serious. I nodded. I had thought of this already. Regarding that battle just now, although we won, the price of exposure was too high. Su Muking walked over from the window, her face still covered in dust from the battle. Li Moyan, we need to leave quickly. The reaction speed of this Lijiang base city is too fast. If they call in reinforcements, we might be surrounded. Half an hour later, the convoy sped south along the main road of the Lijiang urban area. I specifically chose a route, far away from the direction of the base city. Through high-altitude reconnaissance by Flight No. 1, I confirmed that the remnant forces of Lijiang base city showed no signs of pursuing us for the time being. The convoy traveled at full speed for 2 hours, and finally drove out of the Lijiang urban area. Dad, where are we going next? Yun Ruoxu leaned against the back seat window, her little face pressed against the glass as she looked out. I spread out the map, my gaze scanning across the territory of Jiang Province. To the south is Linan City, and further south will be out of Jiang Province. The bases across the entire Jiang Province. The bases across the entire Jiang Province have already formed an intelligence network. My whereabouts can't be hidden at all. But as long as I leave Jiang Province, information transfer between different provincial bases is much slower. By the time the other provinces react, I'll have long since fled to who knows where. Leaving Jiang Province? Su Muking was a bit surprised. Leaving the province? That's a long way to go. Further is better, Yun Ruoxu answered for me. Staying in Jiang Province will be found sooner or later. Su Muking thought for a moment, and didn't object further. The convoy continued south. Along the way, I harvested a batch of zombie crystal cores. By evening, we set up camp next to an abandoned gas station. A campfire was lit. Su Mujing gave Xiaokiki a piece of roasted rib, while she herself took a large swig of beer. Xiaokiki, do you think your dad was a chef before the end of the world? Maybe. Yun Ruoxu smilingly took the rib. I sat in the passenger seat, looking through the map. It's about 200 kilometers from here to the border of Jiang Province. But the problem is, there's a Linan City on this road that we can't bypass. The urban area of Linan City spans north to south. It's almost impossible to go around it. We can only pass through the city. And there's bound to be a base city in Linen. I frowned. If Lijiang Base City has already sent out the news, Linian Base City might already be along this area. Crossing the urban area then might lead to another fierce battle. Yan Ruoxu seemed to see my concern. She ran over with small steps, leaning on the car window to peek at the map. Dad is thinking about Linian City? I nodded. Don't worry, you have me. Don't worry, you have me. She clenched her little fist, her eyes serious. This little kid? I couldn't help but smile, reaching out to pinch her little cheek. But in this brief moment of peace, through the vision of Flight No. 1, I caught sight of small black dots on the northern horizon, rapidly approaching us from a high altitude. My expression instantly turned cold. They weren't helicopters from Lijiang Base City. Zhao Lin, take Zhao Kiki to the car. I threw a note to Su Muking. Without a word, Su Muking picked up Yan Ruoxu and ran to the car. Yan Ruoxu's gaze narrowed slightly. 3 helicopters. They're not from Lijiang. Su Muking's expression changed as well. But the helicopters hovered several kilometers to the north for a while, and then disappeared from sight. I didn't let my guard down. I controlled Flight No. 1 to quietly follow them for a distance. Through the vision of Flight No. 1,
I saw
7 well-equipped soldiers getting off the helicopters. Among them, the leading man with a crew cut exuded the aura of a Tier 4 expert. After these 7 people got off the helicopters, they immediately set up camp on the spot. These people aren't simple. They are either the elites of some large base city, or they were sent from the imperial capital.
Thinking of the imperial capital.
My heart tightened. After the Sky Team was wiped out by me at Kingshui Farm, this time might be the second ace team from the imperial capital. I decided to hold my ground for now, letting Flight No. 1 continue to monitor their movements, while simultaneously controlling the convoy to turn off the engines and hide in the darkness. After that, 7-man team set up camp. Judging by how frequently they checked the map and their documents, they were definitely on some kind of mission. This was no coincidence. Yan Ruoxu wasn't sleeping either, sitting cross-legged on the back seat to cultivate. Sensing the change in my emotions, Dad, is something wrong? I wrote on a piece of paper. A small team of 7 came from the north. Well-equipped. Suspected to be people from the imperial capital. They're likely here to find us. After Yan Ruoxu finished reading, her brow furrowed slightly. If it's an ace team from the imperial capital, there are likely people with special abilities among them. Last time, the Sky Team were all flight types. This time, there might be even more troublesome ones. This was also my biggest concern. Suddenly, among the 7-man team, a tall, thin young man left the camp and walked alone into the nearby mountain forest. After he entered the forest, the aura on his body suddenly shifted from a human aura to a zombie aura. This person can disguise himself as a zombie. In an instant, I understood their tactics. If I hadn't known beforehand, this disguised person might have successfully mixed into the zombie puppet group. When he got close to me, he would strike suddenly. A previous zombie king was likely killed this way. Zhao Kiki is in trouble. I told Yan Ruoxu about the disguised person. After Yan Ruoxu read it, her expression became extremely grave. Disguised as a zombie? The innocence on her little face faded, replaced by a sharp gaze. This ability is indeed extremely rare. If his disguise is perfect enough, Dad, even your mental power might not be able to tell him apart. But I can. Her tone was calm and confident. Time control. I can perceive the time flow of all living creatures. The time flow of zombies and humans is different. I can perceive the time flow of all living creatures. The flow of time is different for zombies and humans. The aging process has already stopped inside zombies. But no matter how well humans disguise themselves, the flow of time inside their bodies remains normal. As long as I focus carefully, I'll definitely be able to single him out. I felt reassured. But I still didn't want to get careless. We changed our plan. I wrote on a piece of paper that we would not go to Lanan City. Instead, we'll take the mountain roads to leave the province. Sumyuking woke up at this point. I leaned over with one eye to look at the note. Taking a detour means we'll need several more days, right? A few more days is still better than being ambushed. Sumyukin looked at the expressions on our faces and didn't ask any more questions. It was still dark out. I deliberately chose a remote mountain path. This route was extremely difficult to travel, but the advantage was that it was very well hidden. But I underestimated their tracking abilities. About 3 hours after the convoy set out, I received word that the 7-member team had broken camp. They were moving south. Their direction was parallel to our route. They were tracking us. Through Flyer No, one's aerial perspective, I spotted a mutated fierce bird, circling high above the convoy. Shooting down that bird would easily alert them. That could make them change their strategy immediately, switching from ambush to a direct assault. After a moment's thought, since they wanted to use a disguised assassin, then I'll just go along with their plan. I told Yan Ruoxu and Sumyuking about my plan. Dad, are you saying you want to intentionally show a weakness, lure that disguised one in, then catch them all at once? Sumyuking was a bit hesitant. That's too risky. What if that imposter is even stronger than we think, stronger than we expected? They won't get out of control as long as I'm here. Lin Ruoxu patted her small chest. Sumyuking looked at Kiki, remembering yesterday, when he reversed all the heavy artillery shells. He quietly fell silent. According to the plan, the convoy stopped by sunset, in a spacious canyon valley. We set up camp and only placed a few stone puppets for defense, hiding the high-level ones in the nearby mountains and woods. From the outside, the entire camp looked full of security holes. After nightfall, I sat by the fire pretending to relax. But in reality, my mental energy was fully deployed. Yan Ruoxu lay asleep in the tent, but her time-sensing ability was always on alert. Su Muxing was actually sleeping. Around midnight, my mental power sensed something unusual. On the edge of camp, an ordinary zombie was slowly approaching. He looked no different from any other zombie. But his path was way too deliberate. He avoided the patrolling corpse puppets and walked through the gaps in our defense towards the heart of the camp. I didn't alert him and kept pretending I noticed nothing. The zombie came closer and closer. He had reached the edge of the camp. His gaze swept across those gathered by the fire and finally fixed on me.
He held a dagger in his hand
And charged at me. When the imposter got within 5 meters of me, the imposter's time stopped. Yan Ruoxu walked out of the tent, her face icy cold. So you really are human, he said calmly. Zombies have no time flow inside. But his heart is still beating. I got up, walked up to the imposter to examine.
his disguise.
From his appearance to, the heart is still beating. I stand up, walk up to the imposter, examine his disguise. From appearance to aura, almost flawless, without Yan Ruoxu's control over time. I probably wouldn't have uncovered it immediately. Next, I release my mental energy to the 5 fifth-tier corpse puppets hidden in the forest, issuing the signal for a full assault. Meanwhile, at the temporary camp of the 7-person team several kilometers away, they instantly sensed the overwhelming murderous intent. Damn, Zhao Bing has been exposed. The crew cut man in the lead. Qin Heng's expression changed dramatically. He suddenly stood up. Everyone, prepare for battle. But it's already too late. Fire no. 1 single quotes. Spirit Fire Blood Flame arrives first. In less than 10 seconds, 3 helicopters turned into 3 massive fireballs. Their escape route was cut off. An evolver's face went pale. Undying No. 1 followed closely. A bloody glow covered an evolver who was using his powers. He only felt his body uncontrollably flying toward Undying No. 1. In the next instant, the bloody long serpent had already pierced his chest. Flight No. 1 swooped down from high altitude, activated the sky domain, with the spherical field enveloping them. The long-range attacks from 2 evolvers instantly slowed down. Their power dropped to almost 0. But Flight No. 1 single quotes steel claws were unaffected. Qin Heng's power is body surface metal. His entire body was covered by a layer of silver metal armor. Extremely strong defense. A pang struck down with his club. That metal armor was dented but did not shatter. Yet the second blow came right after. Metal armor exploded. Qin Heng spat out blood, sent flying, before he even hit the ground. Undying no. One single quotes S serpent had already caught up. Qin Heng died instantly. Through beast vision, I confirmed none of the 7-member team survived. As I finally breathed a sigh of relief, I walked back to the camp, looking at the imposter still frozen in place. How should I deal with him? Su Muking was awakened by the commotion, came out with her coat draped around her, startled. Killed him, Yan Ruoxu said calmly. He waved his hand. A telekinetic needle drilled into the imposter's forehead. Time control was lifted. The imposter's body collapsed to the ground, resuming his human appearance. Su Muking crouched down, rummaged through the inner pocket of the corpse's chest and found a badge. Tanglong Squadron. I felt little emotional ripple, but Yan Ruoxu's reaction surprised me. He stared at the badge for a long time. The Imperial capital dispatched 2 elite squads in a row. Both were wiped out. Next time, they probably won't send squads. They'll send an army. Yan Ruoxu looked up, his eyes deep and dark. Imperial capital. Once it's confirmed both elite squads are wiped out, my father will be listed as the highest threat level. At that point, the hunt intensity will multiply. The destruction of the 2 elite squads will only make Imperial capital even more certain of the danger of the king. They won't give up, only escalate. So we must speak out as soon as possible. I wrote on paper. That night, the convoy set out immediately, no longer stopping. I had flight no. 1 conduct non-stop aerial reconnaissance, ensuring no pursuers were tailing us. When we were about to reach the outskirts of Lingnan City, I decided not to take a detour, to go straight through the city. A detour would add at least 5 days. Every extra day in the wilderness is an extra day of danger. Although Lingnan City has a base city, the urban area is huge. As long as we choose a route away from the base, it's fast. The urban area is huge. As long as we pick routes away from the base city, passing quickly means the chances of being discovered aren't high. I released my mental power ahead of time, taking control of all zombies along the route, making them clear the road for the convoy. The entire convoy traveled through the dark city streets, without making a sound.
The convoy
Safely crossed most of Lingnan City's urban area. Just ahead was the southern city exit. At that moment, Flight No. 1 sent back urgent intel. A military convoy was parked on the southern city exit overpass. Number of military vehicles. Armored and military trucks blocked the bridge, forming a roadblock. Snipers deployed on both sides of the bridgehead buildings. They are troops from Lingnan Base City. But upon closer observation, I realized these military personnel weren't in a tense, battle-ready state. Lingnan Base City probably set up checkpoints at main entrances after receiving reports of the zombie king. At key entrances and exits, Dad went through here. Yan Ruoxu said, even if we fight our way through, it would make too much noise and bring the entire base's pursuers. I agreed to change the route. The convoy turned around, passing west through a secluded alley. Map. I planned to cross through the industrial district on the city's west side and leave via the ring road there. But the roads in the industrial district were terrible. Collapsed factories and blocked vehicles everywhere. 20 minutes later, the convoy exited the industrial district and onto the ring road. Just when I thought we'd gotten away, suddenly the roar of helicopters sounded behind us. 3 armed helicopters flew in from the city direction. Searchlights swept through the night, searching and accelerating. I moved my mind. The convoy accelerated sharply. The helicopters quickly gave chase. Spotlights locked onto the convoy. Then the cannons opened fire. Bullets struck the highway at the rear of the convoy. Sparks flew everywhere. Front convoy, stop immediately for inspection, or we will open fire. I ignored them. Fire. No. 1 flew out from the convoy, turning into a crimson streak. Rushed at the helicopter formation. In the midst of massive explosions, flames soared. Wreckage scattered and fell. Searchlights went out. Tracking ceased. The convoy sped across the city boundary, disappearing into the vast night. Once outside, Su Muking let out a sigh of relief. But my heart was still unsettled. Arriving at Lingnan Base City, they will definitely report the convoy's direction. Next leg of the journey must race against time. The convoy sped along. At dawn, we finally saw the boundary sign between Jiang province and the neighboring province. Just as the convoy crossed the provincial border, Flight No. 1 sent back an image from high altitude, making my smile suddenly freeze. Atop a mountain south of the provincial border, Wang Xuan was standing there, watching the convoy cross the border. He was just watching from afar, apparently tracking and observing. Yan Ruoxu also noticed Huang Zhuan's presence. A trace of coldness flashed across her face. This guy is very dangerous. He won't let it go. Should we deal with him first? I shook my head. Huang Zhuan's mutated pangolin. Although we killed it, he's a precultor himself. Who knows what trump cards he's hiding. But now isn't the best time to deal with him. Once we're out of the province, we need to plan carefully. Let's go, I wrote. The convoy continued heading south and entered the neighboring province. After leaving Jiang province, the road conditions clearly improved. The wide highway was still jammed with cars, but nothing compared to those rough mountain roads before. 3 days later, we arrived at Yunzhou City in the neighboring province. Yunzhou City. Before the apocalypse, it was a major city with a population of 3 million. Now it has also become zombie territory. But to me, this place is a huge treasure trove. 3 million people means a massive number of zombies. A huge number of zombies means a huge number of evolved zombies and crystal cores. Plus, it's far from Jiang province. News travels slowly here. So for now, we don't have to worry about being hunted by the human base. After the convoy entered Yunzhou City, I stirred up a zombie horde as usual, cleared the surrounding area, and harvested crystal cores one by one. Yan Ruoxu focused on cultivating, while feeding his old Wu turtle. After these days of accumulation, the old turtle finally advanced to Tier 4. Its body was now so big you could set a table on its shell. While Su Muking wasn't slacking off either. Every day he would ride his mutated black bull Dahe and go out to hunt ferocious beasts. Steadily growing stronger, he was also dedicated to cultivation, practicing the Juyuan meridian severing technique that Yan Ruoxu taught him, his aura becoming increasingly deep. As for me, I used this time to further expand my zombie puppet army. With the crystal cores harvested from Yunzhou zombies, I cultivated several new Tier 4 multi-headed zombie puppets. With that kind of power, even facing a medium-sized base city head-on, I feel confident. But all I want is to find a safe place, where little Kiki can grow up. Unfortunately, on the 5th night in Yunzhou, all I want is to find a safe place, where little Kiki can grow up. Unfortunately, on the 5th night in Yunzhou, through reconnaissance by Flight 1, I discovered in the northwest of Yunzhou, a huge convoy was moving in this direction. Dozens of military trucks, armored vehicles, and tanks, escorted by 6 armed helicopters. In the center of the convoy, there were several command vehicles with special markings. Their destination was directly toward Yunzhou City, so the news still got here. My heart sank. It seems the imperial capital has extended the Zombie King's bounty to neighboring provinces. This unit is most likely a suppression force assembled by the neighboring base city after receiving the alert. But it's also possible that Huang Zhuan revealed my location to this base city. No matter which it is, I can't stay here anymore. Su Muking had already gotten used to this restless life. He quietly began packing. Yan Ruoxu walked over to the window and looked outside at the silent city streets. Dad, we can't keep running like this forever. I knew he was right. But what else can we do but run for now? One day, we won't have to run anymore. Yan Ruoxu turned back and smiled at me. In that smile, there was a steadiness and determination far beyond his age. In the early hours before dawn, the convoy disappeared into the Yunzhou night. Meanwhile, dozens of kilometers away, that massive military convoy still advanced. Inside a command vehicle, a middle-aged man with a cold, stern face was leafing through a file. The file's cover was stamped with a red top-secret seal. The title had just 5 words, Zombie King File. The man closed the file and gazed into the distance, in the direction of Yunzhou City, cloaked in darkness. This time, you can get away.